versus Clemson will not be for the faint of heart. Coaches Dooley and Ford can attest to that. A year ago, they went at it for 60 minutes, and it came down to this.
Kick it 60 yards, plus a foot and a half, and Butler kicked a long one, a long one. Oh, my God! Oh, my God!
Kevin Butler's 60-yarder broke Clemson's heart that afternoon. That's just one of the memories as these two square off for the 54th time. It's the Bulldogs at Georgia versus the Tigers at Clemson, live here on CBS.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina, it's the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Clemson Tigers. Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet, who invite you to see, drive, and live today's Chevrolet. AC Delco, the smart parts. And by Pennzoil Motor Oil, quality protection.
A sea of orange on this Saturday afternoon in Death Valley. Clemson, South Carolina, and a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And here come the Bulldogs of Georgia. Their head coach, Vince Dooley. And the big question with Dooley and this Bulldog team, who will be his starting quarterback? We asked Vince that question.
Well, we're not settled. Wayne Johnson will start, but we have plans, not only plans, but we will play James Jackson, perhaps after the second, perhaps after the third series. So you're going to see both of our quarterbacks. And we do have Joey Hester, who is number 3, and he's still very much into the picture. So our quarterback position is unsettled, but I hope that today maybe we'll learn a lot more about that position.
The pageantry of Georgia against Clemson. Two teams that are rarely separated by more than a field goal. And now one of the great traditions in college football, the Tigers' arrival is about to begin. Southern schools here.
Really doing two great coaches. Vince Dooley somehow finds a way to win. And we were talking to people who were close to him. We asked him what his greatest asset was, what his asset was, and they came back and told us organization. But you were down there to see it.
Well, that's exactly what it's like, Era. He is the chairman of the board as he walks around at practice session. The assistants really do the coaching, and he kind of stands off and watches everything. Now, you were with Coach Danny Ford. What's his practices like?
Well, Danny is a great guy, a winner also, and you get on the field with him, it's almost a buddy-buddy relationship with his players rather than a player-coach relationship, but they're fundamentally sound. He's a disciple of Bear Bryant, having coached for him and played for him. And the guy, when I asked him, I said, what is the most important thing in this game? He says the kicking game, #1, defense 2, offense 3.
That sounds like a low-scoring game to me.
It certainly does. This has been a fierce rivalry for the last 8 years, and if you're interested in statistics, the team that makes the most yardage and the most first downs, 7 of the 8 times that they played, has not won. The team that has had the least number of turnovers does win. So the kicking game and turnovers may determine the outcome.
All right, we're going to find out how that holds up. Coming your way live here this afternoon on CBS. It's the Clemson Tigers against the Georgia Bulldogs, and we'll be right back.
This is today's Chevrolet S10 Blazer.
For the fun, for the chores, for the town, or the great outdoors, it's all there for you.
Weekends, work, or just plain cruising, Chevy S10 Blazer can do it all with versatility, style, and a touch of fun. No wonder it's America's favorite sport utility vehicle, Chevy S10 Blazer.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
These old-fashioned shingles have worn out before their time. The culprit, insides of mere paper. Ugh.
Now these are long-lasting Owens Corning shingles. They have a heart of pink fiberglass, so they shrug off moisture, keep their cool and baking sun, and glide through winter after winter.
And that is no snow job.
Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
Recently, a young father heard some unexpected news.
College education may cost $140,000.
He called Merrill Lynch.
Does the plan you set up cover me?
I'll look into it. The fixed income portion covers college. And get me investor support in New York.
Ron, I need research opinions on these stocks.
Well, the analyst is checking that company.
You've gotten sales and revenues up.
Good. This is what we needed.
Don't change a thing.
More resources, better solutions. Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
Test pilot Chuck Yeager for AC Delco.
Up here, power when you need it can save your neck. When you get back down to your car, it helps too. Today's smaller engines need extra firepower from a spark plug, and AC delivers. If you could look inside your engine, you'd see an AC spark plug delivering up to 30,000 volts, firing 30 times a second. Firepower when you need it from AC.
Call 800 AC Delco for a retailer near you.
Never wait for trouble.
82,000 on hand here in Clemson, South Carolina. And our conditions, 79 degrees, the humidity at 48%. A lot of players will see action, but a break for those who must return punts. There is a cloud cover down here. This field is laid out east-west, and normally that would be a factor. But here this afternoon, those punt returners who will be moving from the right-hand side, your screen to the left, will not have that much difficulty. One of the Nigerian kickers, and if you will, the soccer connection to this football team, played on their national championship soccer team, and Otto Rubio will kick it off for Clemson. We're underway, and he boots it completely out of the end zone. Let's take a look at the Georgia offense that Vince Dooley will bring out here now. His freshman quarterback, 6'4" Wayne Johnson. Behind him, the big fullback, 220-pound David McCluskey. His starting tailback, but they'll use three of them as Lars Tate. Jimmy Hockaday is the starting flanker. Herman Archie, 6'5", 200 goes a split in, and Wycliffe Lovelace will be the tight end. The Bulldogs trying to get some turnovers, and it's incomplete on that first down. It was almost intercepted by James Earl, who is starting at Bandit.
James Earl, number 9, has come into the ball game because Perry is hurt. Almost picks off the first pass that Wayne Johnson throws. He's in perfect position. Actually, a very poor decision on the part of Wayne Johnson.
2nd and 10 for the Dogs. They put a man in motion to influence the secondary and get him moving, and they will bring Tate for the first time with a big hole out close to a first down. Now that offensive line opened a big hole, and let's take a look at the men up front. At left tackle, 272-pound Victor Perry. Next to him, 265-pound Mac Burrows. Then it's the converted guard, Peter Anderson from New Jersey. Next to Kim Stevens at 245, and Wilbur Strozier at 245. Not an especially large Georgia offensive line. They got the first down. They'll use the short man, and that, of course, is the fullback, David McCluskey. Harold, what kind of a philosophy is Clemson's defense employing here today against Georgia?
Well, they're in an odd look with a man over the center. but they're a very well-disciplined defensive team. And the outside backers, one is an anchor end that will rush. The other one is the bandit end, which will drop to the flat as a defender.
Here is a 2nd and 7. And again, they bring McCluskey right up the middle. A rather conservative approach to the game right now by Georgia, but that's not unusual for Vince Dooley. Now the interior line, of course, is anchored by Anderson. Watch the center. He was the one who closes off the nose guard and opened the hole.
Matter of fact, against Virginia Tech, Clemson had a tough time on the inside. They were blocked, and that's what Georgia is doing, going right at him.
They'll run the tailback error to the left side, and again he gets out to first down territory.
They went on a quick count that time, and it really helped them. They did get the first down, cut Clemson off a little bit, and a well-executed play.
Vince Dooley's assistant coaches shuttle in the plays with their wide receivers. Georgia has moved smartly to 2 first downs, almost turned the ball over on a first down surprise pass. Now the ball is at their 42-yard line. And again, they bring the tight end in motion, and they will power take behind him. And that Clemson defense was there.
Well, that was excellent defense on the part of Clemson. They reacted very well before the play could develop. It looks to me as if Georgia has looked at the film of a week ago against Virginia Tech when Clemson played them.
Keith Williams led the way that time. He is their weak side linebacker.
I think they feel it probably can run against Clemson, Brent.
2nd and 8. Johnson will throw. Incomplete and out of bounds. Herman Archie was the intended receiver. The inexperience of Johnson, how will that affect him here this afternoon?
Well, they're both. Neither one of the two teams has established really an offensive personality or gel together. And I think both coaches would like to see their quarterbacks kind of come into their own here. It's early in the season, young, new quarterbacks. I'll say one thing, Wayne Johnson had a lot of zip on that last pass.
3rd and 8. And they'll run tape. A fine defensive play by Elridge Milton, number 87.
Boy, that was a great play by Eldridge Milton right there, number 87 on your screen. That was terrific. He came off of a block and made a great play.
The only Letterman left from their national championship team. Here is the best athlete. The Georgia punter could be a big factor in this game. Chris Carpenter, and under great pressure, he gets it off. It gets a Georgia bounce, goes out of bounds near the 20-yard line. 34-yard punt, but the roll helped it because Clemson put a lot of pressure on. Now we'll see the Tigers. Their first possession is coming up.
This Bud's for everyone who puts the roads on the map.
This Bud's for you. For all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do. This Bud's for you.
Radio Shack understands that a computer purchase is a serious personal and business decision. But what's really important is the company behind the computer. At Radio Shack, when you buy a computer, you buy a company. A company committed to technology, service, and support. We'll be here when you need us. With a telephone hotline, training, education, and excellent service. Tandy Computers, in business, for business. Tandy, clearly superior.
It's Jackie Gleason and Art Carney as Prohibition's finest booze busters.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Mo. Izzy and Mo, Monday.
You're watching the best in college football on CBS, and today it's Clemson, Georgia. Here's 1st and 10 for Clemson and their young quarterback, Randy Anderson. He'll split his backs, showing a lot of motion now, and they will run the fullback, George Smith. A Let's take a look at the Clemson attackers. Randy Anderson, 6'5", 185, big like the Georgia quarterback. Behind him, there was the ball carrier on first down, 6'1", 245. Stacy Driver starts at the tail. He's only 5'8", and 180. And outside, Terrence Ruhlach is perhaps their best athlete, but don't overlook this young man. He's a great baseball player. Jim Riggs is their tight end. It is 2nd and 9 for the Tigers. Reverse motion. They bring the tail over that time. Stacy Driver. Greg Waters with a stop, and that offensive line, John Watson at 255. Next to their best lineman, Steve Reese, All-American. He goes at 270. Jeff Litton is their center at 250. Frank DeUlias at 265. And Wes Mann, 6'5", 270. Third down, Clemson will throw its first pass incomplete. Intended for Ray Williams. They're split in.
Georgia's really an outstanding defensive team. It was a good series for them the first time that Clemson had the ball. I believe the only way that Clemson is going to be able to move the football effectively against this Georgia team is probably through the air. Anderson had a good day last week against Virginia Tech, hitting 17 out of 30. But it'll be hard-pressed against an outstanding Georgia defense.
Newell will punt, and John Little of sure hands is set to return it for Georgia. Driven back with a great punt to the 24. Brought down by that special team at the 28-yard line. A 50-yard punt. Nebraska and Illinois underway. Here's Pat Hayden and Jim Nance.
Difficult to defend today. They've run power football. They've run the option extremely well. And here they get a big play out of the passing game. McCathron Clayton, 64 yards to Rob Schnitzler. They set up a 1-yard touchdown run by Doug Du Bois. 24-10 at halftime. But let's go back to Brent Nera.
1st and 10 for the Bulldogs, and Tim Worley, their freshman running back, bolted right up the middle.
Well, Vince really likes Worley. He thinks he's an outstanding prospect, and as you see on the second opportunity, they bring him right in on the second series of downs, second possession.
It is 2nd down and 5, and keep an eye on this young man. He is number 38, working against Danny Ford's defense. Ford and Clemson has to be very concerned about the freshman connection now in there. Here he comes, Worley, big hole. 1st down. This is the man that impressed me in practice on Tuesday afternoon. I thought he was the best runner in the Georgia camp.
And he also had a beautiful blocked hole to run through on the left side. Mark Burrows and Perry, look at that from ground level. You'll see the hole open up just to your right of the screen, right there. Worley pops right through there before the defender's number 20 comes in there and knocks him down, and that's Donald Wolford.
From Lumberton, North Carolina, set in the eye behind Keith Henderson. Still another freshman. This time it'll be Henderson for the big hole. And he can cut to the left side inside the 40 before he is finally brought down. Delton Hall, the right cornerback, was forced to make that tackle. So Clemson so conscious about Worley. Instead, they came with Henderson, 38, and takes the defensive flow with him. The cutback, a beautiful block up front by the center in that offensive line, Peter Anderson. Then it was the young man, Henderson, doing the rest as he got outside and forced the corner to make the tackle over there. And once you get past the line of scrimmage, the Clemson defense has done a bad job.
Boy, it was a beautiful block by Anderson, the center, as you pointed out, on the linebacker. That's what really made that go.
And a 5-yard face mask against Coach Ford. And the Tigers are reeling here early. 1st down. The freshmen have the Bulldogs on the move. Here's Henderson. That time he fights off a would-be tackle and bulls his way for 5 more yards.
You'd have to say that Georgia has established the running game, and it'll really pressure the Clemson defense. And it's the interior that's doing an outstanding job of blocking. Anderson, Stevens, Burrows, Perry, and Strozier.
Second down, and here's Worley. And he is met and slapped down to the ground. Big number 76, Steve Berlin, perhaps the finest defensive lineman on this Tiger team. Florida State and the Seminoles are up there in the top 10 looking for great things this year. 2 ACC teams in Virginia and George Welsh doing it again this year. That's going to be a good game. Coach Anderson doing a fine job at Rutgers. Nebraska over Illinois could be the game of the day. And how about that Colorado team, unbeaten? Meanwhile, it's Johnson under pressure, and he hits Henderson. Inside the 20, a great first down pass by the young quarterback, Wayne Johnson, who was under enormous pressure.
It really was. He got a lot of heat. He was not rattled. He put the ball right on the money. Probably will be a confidence builder for him. He needs that.
We expected to see great defense. Right now, it is the Georgia offense dominating.
Right, they look better in this drive than they did in their first 2 football games. Their offense is starting to gel together.
They send motion at the Tigers. And they'll run Worley. Henderson with a fine block, and he turns it up and gains 4 yards to the 15-yard line. Terrence Mack finally got over on Worley. Now, number 12 on defense, Terrence Mack, is being forced to play the anchor in today because Lawrence Brunson is out. Now, Terrence Mack is perhaps their finest athlete. They would prefer to have him at the bandit position, but they've got to anchor him instead. They run Henderson straight ahead, and that's going to leave them, Arrow, with another big third down. Should they stay on the ground or let Johnson roll a bit?
Well, they've been so successful on the ground. They're going to have to determine whether or not Clemson is going to deploy for a short yardage defense. I would guess they will not. But again, run action pass or that pitch sweep, this is what they've been successful with. Let's see which way they go. There's Vince Dooley, one of the great winners.
He sends both wide receivers to the right. Let's see if he brings the flanker in motion. He does. And the flanker turns back for the influence, and they'll run up the middle with Worley. He is short of the first down. Now, Coach, you kick a field goal and get on that board early.
Let's see how close it is here, Brent. He's given it about a half yard. I would guess he's going to go for it. The way they've been moving the ball, I think that Vince is going to go for this.
The first down yardage so important. They have to get just inside the 9, and I believe what's happening now, Aaron.
Took a timeout. Georgia took a timeout to make a decision on the sideline. They want to make sure they get the right play on. No, he looks like he's going to take the 3 points. He's coming in here with Steve Crumley.
And there's Coach Ford telling his sideline field goal. Get the field goal defensive unit, and Coach Ford has to be pleased about this. Georgia was moving the ball very well, but inside the 20, his Tiger defense toughened up.
Might be a pretty good spot for a little gadget, but I think he wants that 3 points on the board. It was a very effective drive on the part of Georgia. They're going to I think Clemson's going to have to make some adjustments defensively, particularly in the interior.
This is a series that has been decided through the years by the field goal. And the great Georgia kicker, Kevin Butler, no longer here, now with the Chicago Bears. So you're looking at their new young man, Steve Crumley.
He's 2 for 3 in field goals coming into this football game, 3 for 3 on his extra points. And he has a very short field goal here.
27 yards exactly, Coach Boyne. Carpenter, his roommate, and the punter does the holding. And he has helped settle this young man down. Carpenter says something to him now. He awaits the snap. It's good. The Bulldogs strike first in the land of the Tigers. It's Georgia 3, Clemson nothing, and the Tigers are due at bat next.
To help get your car ready for fall, quality Pennzoil motor oil in this easy pour plastic bottle is on sale now. No coupons, no rebates, just real savings on all the Pennzoil you can get your hands on. So stock up now on that great Pennzoil protection. Quality Pennzoil in this handy plastic bottle and on sale. Now that's a real deal.
A lot of homeowners' insurance policies won't cover this kind of damage. Nationwide's Elite Homeowners Policy will. The Elite policy doesn't cost much more than standard homeowners policies, but it covers things you never dreamed of.
Bill, are you watering the lawn?
Uh-huh. Elite Homeowners Insurance, part of Nationwide's blanket protection.
Nationwide is on your side.
This weekend, I'm seeing Rhonda. I got the Camaro. I'm seeing the folks, so I got a Chevette. My sister's in town this weekend with her kids.
You need a big car.
For just the right car, ask National for their low weekend rates, starting as low as $19.95 a day for an economy car like the Chevy Chevette.
For my class reunion, the Cadillac.
Weekends it pays to get national attention.
And the young man who put the 3 on the board for Georgia will kick it off. Ray Williams and Terrence Ruhack back deep. Some confusion, and here comes Ruhack. He makes a cut. Great return. They blew the whistle back there. The whistle has been blown. This is strictly for exercise.
This is an excellent run back by Terry Ruhlack, and it'll tell you a little bit about what it might be like when he catches a pass. An outstanding runner. He's got great speed. Look at him break a tackle here. Weaves back to the inside, shakes another tackler right there, and comes out for 35 yards to bring it in a pretty decent field position. The ball was definitely down. It was a good call by the official.
Kenny Flowers has checked in at the tail, and from the single setback, it is Flowers with their best burst of the game. Reminder, tomorrow on CBS, the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern, and we've got a doubleheader. Those are our early games. St. Louis against the Giants is a critical one, but that's the big one. The San Francisco 49ers against the sold-out Los Angeles Raiders. Those of you in L.A. will be able to watch the Raiders play a home game tomorrow, and how unusual that is. Flowers back at the I-back or tailback. Ruhlack in motion from the flanker spot. Complete, and the rover back, and the right corner, Michael Willis, closes in. How about that tough Georgia defense? Normally among the stingiest of the land. Andy Loy is at left end. In the middle, Henry Williams teams up with the big fella Ken Sims. He's 265. Henry Harris, he also is 265. And then Greg Waters, who had 3 sacks in last Saturday's victory by the Bulldogs. They are tough as usual. Short, Anderson keeping it himself. He's got the first down for the Tigers.
You know, the first play that they ran that made 9.5 yards, they fooled them with a little formation. They put the 2 tackles over to the left. The split end was to the short side, and they ran the outside veer by doubling down to the inside. We may see more of that, and it's the very thing that Danny Ford was talking about, multiple formations.
This will give you an indication just how tough this game is going to be here in Clemson. Only 1 yard, and those 2 defensive guards pinched in well on the middleman. Linebackers came flying in. Now there's a fumble. Anderson went diving for the ball. The Bulldogs say they've got it. And the official's indication is that Clemson kept it, and I think you'll find the young quarterback down near the bottom of that pile. There he is indeed.
If you saw Georgia trying to make some adjustments that time, you see Anderson there. You see his wristband came loose there, and that's what gives him the information. They're sending signals in. He doesn't have his wristband to read.
Second down. Flowers, remember, is the tailback in this series. He had a great run when they picked up their first down a few plays ago. A little delay, and now they've sent it out to Flowers. Some confusion against the Georgia defense that time as we take a look at the rest of their defensive backfield and secondary. The linebacker John Brantley, 6'3", 216. Bill Mitchell, he's 6'1", 219. Now at the corner is Gary Moss. He's back this year. Michael Willis, who turned in a fine defensive play here earlier in the game. And, of course, the key man, the rover, John Little. And Miles Smith is the free safety. This is third, and they run Flowers. They've got their first down, and he's an impressive-looking runner.
They're really hurting him with the outside veer. They put the 2 tackles over here to the strong side, and they're able to double team in there and single block with a big tackle in there, and I think it has got Georgia a little confused right now.
Ball is down to the Bulldogs' 43-yard line, and now Danny Ford using a quick hand signal. He was also sending in a wide receiver. We'll see what Anderson comes up with. He's going to throw it over the middle. He's got the tight end is open. Jimmy Riggs, touchdown Clemson. The extra point. He's got it. The Tigers come right back.
They caught Georgia in a two deep. They were out in double wing. They sent 4 people deep. They split the 2 deep zone. Anderson put the ball right to Riggs, and you can see him go all the way into the end zone. It was a perfect call against the defense. Exceptionally well executed.
What you look for in football is that big tight end who can run, block, and catch passes. Riggs is 6'5", 235. He just ripped past that Georgia secondary and got Clemson on the scoreboard. It is 7-3, and we'll be back in just a moment.
The benefits of all these exercises have been molded into one machine. Octagym. Rowing machine. Vertical gym. Horizontal gym. The home fitness machine for every part of your body. Octagym. Now with weight bench. OctaBench from AJ.
A performance story from Phillips 66. Subject, gasoline. Weather is constantly changing. From region to region, throughout the year. That's why at Phillips, we adjust our gasoline to change with it, so that your car will perform well, no matter what kind of weather's up ahead. That's performance. From Phillips Petroleum, you'll find performance in everything we make.
This one's gonna be a war. The defending Super Bowl champion 49ers meet the 1984 world champion Raiders tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Delighted to have scored Clemson's first touchdown here this afternoon. And that scoring drive was an impressive one, wasn't it? And Anderson to Riggs right there, 43 yards. And it is 7-3. What happened to that defensive battle we expected?
So much for the defensive game. This is going to be an offensive game.
And again, the kickoff sails completely out of the end zone. Oda Rubio from Nigeria. And of course, next Saturday, we're going to be out in Palo Alto, California. It'll be the Texas Longhorns who play Missouri tonight against the Stanford Cardinal. And we'll see the great John Pay. And the rest of you will be watching the UCLA Bruins up against the Washington Huskies. Slow start for the Huskies, but Coach James is a good one, and he'll bring that football team back. Now it is 1st and 10. The Bulldogs run. Big Lars Tate. He's got an opening. The 45, inside the 40 before Clemson can strike. Delton Hall, the right cornerback, finally got him out of bounds. There's a penalty marker at midfield.
Watch the hole open up here. As Tate comes to the right with a little pitch out, he splits right between 2 fine blocks, hits the sideline, and I was impressed with his speed. Right there is number 23, A.J. Johnson, missed the tackle. I cannot see where the flag comes down, and finally he's run out of bounds there.
Clipping offensive team, 1st down and 10.
A killer.
It was a spot foul, so the ball is still, he picked up 14 yards. Yeah, it was a tough penalty for him.
James Jackson, sophomore, is now in at quarterback. He can give you the option. Quick feet, back, straight back, throws way deep toward Lane. Lane was open, but he overthrew him.
Boy, Lane got by Perry Williams that time, and it was a little overthrown.
Let's take a look at the men up front for Clemson. Lawrence Brunson, who has been replaced. Steve Berlin, their best defensive lineman. Brian Raber, the wrestler, holds forth in the middle. Richard McCullough is 250 pounds. And Terrence Mack has moved from the bandit spot over to the other end in that defense. And Earl is playing bandit for Clemson. It is 2nd and 10. And on that second down, they ran Tron Jackson, his first carry of the game. Now the rest of that Clemson defense. At linebacker, Eldridge Milton, a Letterman from the '81 championship team. Keith Williams, 6'4", the other linebacker. Back in the secondary, and they're about to be challenged, Perry Williams, 6'2". Delton Hall, Kenny Danforth, and the other safety is A.J. Johnson. 3rd and 4. They run the tailback, Tron Jackson. Here in the first quarter, inside of 2 minutes. 7-3 score. It looks like a giant pumpkin festival here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. I tell you, Georgia is really putting a lot of pressure on that Clemson defense.
Well, they have had to make the switch. They have Brunson back at the anchor end.
And Mack at the bandit.
Penalty marker is down. The pass is incomplete, but there was a flag, and it involved the line of scrimmage.
Herman Archie should have had that pass. Of course, we'll see what the penalty is here. It may not have made any difference.
Taking a look at the Big Ten, Iowa going to be a power this year under Hayden Fry. Ohio State has tied Colorado. They were behind by 7 points. Michigan off that big win over Notre Dame, leading South Carolina down the road. Nebraska at the half over Illinois. And Indiana beats Navy. Wisconsin tied with Nevada, Las Vegas, and Purdue an early leader. The Big Ten coming off a great week. They were 9-0. The fullback, David McCluskey, straight ahead.
Nice job by Steve Berlin, the left tackle in there. He closed down. They've been yielding a lot of yardage in there, but Berlin reacted very well that time.
Because of the penalty, it was a 1st and 5. They got about 3, and now it is 2nd and 2. His father is the trainer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why Clemson? Well, he came down here and simply enjoyed the campus a great deal and decided to enroll here and become a football player.
You can see that yardage here that had 112 yards. Oh,
that was Lars Tate, and
Berlin again.
Berlin did it again.
Yeah. He's come to life in there. They need that on the inside because they've really been hurt.
Last week against Virginia Tech, what did they try to do against Berlin, Era?
They were doubling him and tripling him, and he was keeping him out of the ball game pretty much. They were working him over. He had a tough time in that football game because of the blocking combinations on him. When they went, they very seldom ever singled him.
It is 3rd and less than a yard. They come ahead with McCluskey, and that should be good for the 1st down.
I think he got it. It's a 9th 1st down, and the quarter, of course, is going to be over here very shortly. It's only 6 seconds. It'll be before Georgia gets this playoff, but that's 9 1st downs. Clemson has to be a little concerned about shoring up that defense.
Clemson has sent Mack back into the game at that stand-up defensive end as we come to the end of the 1st quarter. He was out for a few plays, but obviously there's confusion. Mack is probably used to a little more freelancing. They want him to stay at home on that side. Coaches spoke to him about it. We're going to be back with the 2nd quarter after this word and word from your local stations.
I'm Mr. Goodwrench. Did you know it takes more power to stop your car than to make it go? This GM car can go from 0 to 50 in 11 seconds. But you may have to stop in less than 3. So brakes have to be powerful. And they need professional care. So have me check them regularly. And if they need replacing, I'll install new GM Goodwrench replacement brakes. You get them exclusively from a GM dealer who sells GM Goodwrench parts. Just stop in and keep that great GM feeling.
GM parts.
Owning that new Chevrolet just got closer. Announcing low 7.7% financing on many of our most popular new 1985 Chevys. Save up to $1,284 in finance charges on Cavalier, $1,886 on exciting Camaro Berlinetta, $1,406 on Chevy Celebrity, $1,599 on Caprice, and $1,064 on Chevette. This is a limited time offer, so hurry. You can save up to $1,886 in finance charges. See your Chevy dealer now.
This is CBS.
Now, 7.7% financing, our lowest factory-sponsored rate ever, is available during the Ford Factory Authorized Clearance Sale. 7.7% on every new Ford car in stock, or big cash rebates for cash buyers. 7.7% on select Ford trucks, too, or up to $1,000 cash back on top of a great clearance deal. Now through October 2nd, during the Factory Authorized Clearance Sale. Hurry, see your local Carolina Ford dealer before time runs out.
Isn't it time you had your own personal broker to help you lease your automobile?
Dave McBride's buying power and experience put me into a car that I wanted at a price I could afford.
Dave McBride furnished our fleet on time, on budget, with no hassles.
Dave did all the work and got me a much better deal than I could have on my own.
Give me a call today and let me show you how leasing from Dave McBride's Auto Leasing and Brokerage can make it easier for you.
You're watching WSBA TV 7.
Ready to start the second quarter. I'm Brent Musburger along with Era Parsegan. Era, one team has dominated offensively, but they trailed because of the big play.
Yes, Georgia has run up 120 yards rushing. You multiply that by 4, and you're looking at 480 yards. So as I pointed out in that first quarter, Clemson has to do something to stop that running game.
The runners in there right now are David McCluskey and Tron Jackson, set behind James Jackson, the sophomore quarterback. He will throw on first down. He's going long. Touchdown, Georgia. Herman Archie. Hold it. There's a penalty flag down. He didn't hold the ball as he was going past that. That's what it was.
He dropped the football. It was right in his hands. I thought he was in the process of spiking the ball. Perfect throw here by James Jackson right there, and he bobbled the ball. Wow.
He had a sure 6 for Georgia.
He sure did.
2nd and 10. Now they move the tight end. And he will keep it. Jackson, who is a strong running quarterback, gets to the 35-yard line.
We can look for more of that from Jackson. Vince Dooley said he would put him in the ball game. He's going to play, and he's got to attack the perimeter. And he's going to do it with that play right there, the option play. We can see a lot of it. And the option pass off of that same action.
It's 3rd down and a yard for the Bulldogs. Lars Tate, the tailback. Jackson on the sprint right. He is cut off and thrown down by Keith Williams. There's been a development with Nebraska, Illinois. Let's go to Pat Hayden.
Brent, Georgia's not the only team running the ball well today. Watch I-back Doug DeBose of Nebraska. This is power football. A little earlier you saw them throw the ball deep, but they can come right at you as well. Doug DeBose, 49-yard touchdown run. They've broken the game open. It's 31-10 in the 3rd quarter. Let's go back to Brent and Era.
Nebraska very much back in business, aren't they? And now the punter, Chris Carpenter, with his 2nd punt here for Georgia. Under heavy pressure, lifts it high. Kevin Brady lets it bounce into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. So Clemson survives. Georgia should have had a touchdown, but they failed.
This fall, millions of people will change their antifreeze, but not their radiator hoses. It's an easy mistake to make because hoses can look good outside even when they're wearing out inside. So put in Quality Gates hoses the next time you change antifreeze. Because if your hoses go, your car won't.
There are lots of furnaces you can choose for your home. But for the most efficient energy, forget all but the gas furnaces. And to cut energy costs further, consider only the high-efficiency gas furnaces. Of those, only one has advanced pulse technology, the Lennox Pulse Furnace. It will make your heating more efficient.
Take it from Dave Lennox. You can save a lot of gas with a Pulse.
Attaboy, Dave!
Gas, America's best energy value.
Now, Danny Ford facing that great defensive pressure from Georgia. And we asked him how he would handle it here this afternoon.
Georgia been a pressure defense. We're going to try to keep them off balance and be very simple offensively, run very few plays, probably 9 or 10 plays running at them, and try to change up and get them confused a little bit with the formations. We'll have 6 or 8 formations, try to throw at them and keep them off balance a little bit. Hopefully that will work, and if not, we'll have to go to plan B.
Well, plan B involves changing quarterbacks, and Rod Williams is now in there, handing off on first down. They'll try it right up the middle with Kenny Flowers, and now, of course, they will also use Terrence Flagler at the tail, and there is their new quarterback.
It's interesting that he would put Williams in. I felt that Randy Anderson had a good quarter. Certainly hope he isn't injured.
Flowers.
You know, both of the quarterbacks have, both teams have put in different quarterbacks beginning of the second quarter, and both teams moved the football, one through the air and the other one through the ground. I don't know, I have a tendency to stay with my guy that was in there.
3rd and 2, and here comes the tailback, Terrence Flagler.
Got the first down.
1, 2, 3.
Now set behind Williams. Tracy Johnson is the fullback. On the first down, Clemson shows motion again. Williams on a quarterback keeper with a hole out to the 40-yard line. Michael Willis busts him down.
Brent, both teams now are running the option play. They must have found something within the defense of the Georgia alignment, and Williams ran it successfully there.
Because of the humidity, Coach, they're probably planning on using a lot of players like Williams here in the second quarter. And it's Flagler. Bill Mitchell helping out defensively there for the Dogs. This brings in 3rd down. Gary Cooper checking in at flanker for Clemson as they run the plays in from the Tiger sideline. It's 3rd and a yard. And again on a quarterback keeper, but the Dogs were all over him. They met him right now. Mitchell again leading the way, number 56. He's a senior out of Dalton, Georgia.
Mitchell, I think, is an outstanding football player. Linebacker, he comes in here. There's 2 or 3 of them. They're trying to run the option play. Williams is trying to run the option. He decides, I think he predetermined that he was going to carry the ball, but they were right there. You see Mitchell, 56, standing him up, forcing the punt.
Clemson punt spiraling deep to Fred Lane at the 16 for Georgia, looking for an alley.
Good coverage, excellent coverage by Clemson. Lane is dangerous. And we'll be right back after this message.
All right, we got a Mark, your insurance isn't on a piece of paper. It's up here, and it's in your equipment. With all the technology that's built into today's cars, I just don't trust mine to anything but AC filters. An AC oil filter can help protect your gasoline engine for up to 15,000 miles. An AC air filter, up to 30,000 miles. Never wait for trouble. Protect your car with AC filters.
Now get rebates on AC filters. Call 1-800-AC-DELCO for a participating dealer.
Today, Chevrolet lets you live Camaro your way.
Take a curve, grab a gear, running strong, freedom's here as the road rolls on. Down the road, in the sun, running free, just for fun, it's all in your hands.
And now don't miss low 7.7% financing on all new 1985 Chevy Camaros.
Drive today, Chevy, live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
See Texas play Stanford or UCLA against Washington next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Clemson is ahead, but if you studied the statistics of this game, you wouldn't believe it.
Look at the time, 12-14. Not only that, Georgia has the ball back again, and they may grind a little bit more time off that clock, but they've got to get on the board because they're behind 7-3 in spite of the possession time.
They're coming with the two freshmen again, Keith Henderson and Tim Worley. They are set behind the quarterback. He hands off, and Worley tries to battle his way for a couple of yards. Terrence Mack slaps him down along with Steve Berlin. Jim Nance has some scoring updates in New York, so let's go back.
Brent, we have three finals. It wasn't easy, but Penn State held on to beat East Carolina 17-10. Also, first time ever, Virginia beats Georgia Tech 24-13, and TCU stopped the Kansas State two-point conversion in the final 49 seconds. They held on to win 24-22. Back to you, Brent and Eric.
Here it is, second down, and James Jackson repositioning his tight end because he wanted to come in that way with Henderson, and that Clemson defense, led by Pat McKinney, number 74, stomped him.
They were trying to fool, Georgia was trying to fool them with a formation. Let's take another look at it. They went tackle over, but they gave it away because they made a mistake in the alignment. And you see here a beautiful job of coming in, defensive play by Pat McKinney, who is the nose man.
3rd and 6. Jackson straight back to throw it. Incomplete. Tremendous defensive play by Donnell Wolford, number 20.
From up here, I thought he had a completion. Wolford, his ball reaction time while it was in the air was remarkable. I don't know how he got over there. Looked like they were beat. It was going to be a completion. The ball was right there, but what a defensive play.
Cassius Osborne was the intended receiver, and he thought he had it for a moment, too. Now, back to punt. Again, it is Chris Carpenter.
Looks like they got the return on here, Brent. Great kick, though, by Carpenter.
It's Kevin Brady. And there's a penalty marker down. 47-yarder. Coach, did you pick up what happened down there?
Looked like a clip from up here. See what they call. Yeah, there it is.
So we're going to be right back. After this, Clemson leading Georgia 7-3.
You got to move? You're thinking about a move. You are moving. Ryder moving days are here with special rates on Ryder trucks at Ryder dealers everywhere. The newest, best trucks you can rent with power steering, automatic transmissions, radios, air conditioning. Did you move yet? Our special fall rates will help you move. See your Ryder dealers. With these rates, you're going to move. I'm moving. Yeah.
Ryder, the right move.
The Erie Canal that linked mid-America to the port of New York took 8 backbreaking years to dig by hand. That kind of determination made this country grow. Today, I see that same determination in hundreds of small to mid-sized companies whose new ideas, new technologies, and new jobs will continue to build America. At First Jersey Securities, we specialize in discovering emerging growth companies for today's investors with vision.
First Jersey Securities. Come grow with us.
Captain Betty chases Skip and Harry into the clutches of a drug-running mobster.
Bunny Van Gogh.
Gotta kill you. Kill us? Something personal.
Stir crazy.
A senior member of that defensive line from just down the road in Greenville, South Carolina, is Kenny Sims. What does the game mean to Kenny?
My last game in South Carolina, ever in the state of South Carolina, it means so much to me that I can't really describe how much it feels. I just want to express myself on the field.
Well, let's see what Sims can do against Randy Anderson, who has returned quickly to quarterback the Tigers after watching one series from the sideline. Stacy Driver is his tailback. Under great pressure, he is brought down by Sims.
Just got through talking about him, and he came right in there before Anderson could set the option up. Penetration, and he knocked him down for a loss. Be happy with that performance. He's right over from Greenville, South Carolina. 6'3", about 265, and tremendous agility and speed.
Second down and 15. And timeout called by Clemson as Anderson comes over to the sideline. Anderson and Coach Ford will talk it over, and we'll be right back.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be all you can be. Brought to you by the U.S. Army. Georgia Roverback John Little was a high school quarterback, but he was switched to defense as a freshman and now excels in the Bulldog secondary. He also excels in the classroom. A marketing major with a 3-point average, Little was twice named to the SEC All-Academic team. He counts on brains on the field. Intelligence, he says, will make up for anything you're lacking in speed or agility. John Little strives to be the best he can be.
Now there's a new route to college. The new GI Bill plus the new Army College Fund. If you qualify, you can earn over $25,000 for college while you learn things no one can put a price on. The new GI Bill plus the new Army College Fund.
Be all that you can be.
Together, they can put you on the road to college.
Find your future in the Army.
Coach Ford was telling you that he was going to use a wristband, and they've had some problems with it.
Well, this is the first time they're going to signal from the sideline, and he was going to read it off the wristband. Oh, beautiful straight draw. This Driver comes up in there, but he was apparently he had lost the band and was not able to get the play, so he came to the sideline. I don't know whether he get the band back on again. But he's looking over to get the signal from the sideline.
Stacy Driver, who carried that ball out of Griffin, Georgia, and his grandma has never been able to watch the young man play college football, but because this game is on national television, he grew a little bit. I don't think he's quite 6'8" out there. Here it comes. Here he is, Grandma. And he gets out to the 37-yard line.
Gonna be close.
Boy, they're acting right on cue for us. First is Kenny Sims, and now it's Stacy Driver.
No turnovers in this game. The difference in the possession time is remarkable, and the yardage, but the most important statistic is on the board. Clemson has 7, and Georgia has 3.
A first down. Anderson will throw. Both backs into the pattern. Lobs to the tight end again, Jim Riggs, who scored their touchdown.
Beautiful throw by Anderson. He lofted the ball over the linebacker's head, dropped it right into Riggs' hands for a 23-yard gain. Basically the same type of pass that he scored the touchdown on. You see here from an end zone shot, Anderson got back into the pocket. Watch him just drop that right in. I'm impressed with that. Right over top of John Brantley, number 42's hands, and Riggs has a first down.
Georgia has not played well since they lost that touchdown when they should have had one. They switch the tight end, Riggs to the left side. And on first down at the 40, Anderson on the option keeps it, and he is buried. Henry Williams, number 90. righty. The big fella just rose up and swatted him down.
They have not had much success with that option play. They continue to try to attack the perimeter with it. Both teams wanted to do that, but Georgia has done a much better job in containing that option than Clemson.
Second down and about 10.5 in this sequence. 3 wide receivers and no tight end. And it's the tailback driver. Tough third down right here. A lot of other games. The Ivy League roaring again this year at 85. Harvard with a big win. And Yale. Harold, what about this third down call here for Clemson?
Well, I think we can see with Anderson go to the air, although they had success with a draw. I see a draw or a pass right off of this formation. Have to give him protection.
They're going to throw off it. Incomplete. Ray Williams, the intended receiver. John Little, the rover, was there.
Just a lack of coordination between Little and Anderson that time. Ray Williams broke to the inside, and Anderson threw it to the sideline. Just it's one of those things that happens when you got the passer and receiver. Just a lack of coordination.
Now Clemson's offense, we'll talk about it, and Andy Newell will punt it again. He hits it at midfield, and it is high. Little signals for the fair catch. Now he'll let the ball bounce, and Clemson downs it at the 5-yard line. James Earl brings it down.
I like small cars. We need more room.
Today, Chevrolet has a car for you, the midsize Celebrity.
Feel the room, ride in style, go in comfort every mile.
Now don't miss low 7.7% financing on all new 1985 Chevy Celebrities.
Lots of stuff here. If this is today's Chevrolet, I like it.
And we need it. Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
It's one thing to say you fight friction. It's another thing to prove it. Kendall Motor Oil did. First, ordinary piston rings were plated with pure gold. Then, a prestigious independent laboratory ran them under stop-and-go driving conditions for 5,000 miles. The results? Look, Kendall protected the soft gold. A remarkable test only Kendall has taken. Now, doesn't that tell you something? Kendall Motor Oil, for protection worth its weight in gold.
This one's going to be a war. The defending Super Bowl champion 49ers meet the 1984 world champion Raiders tomorrow on CBS Sports.
And we hope you begin your Sunday on CBS with the NFL today. Irv Cross will be out at the Coliseum in Los Angeles for the big one, the Raiders and the 49ers. Dick Vermeil is going to drop by West 57th Street, and he'll talk about Blitzomania, and the Greek will tell us who's going to win between the Raiders and the 49ers. Right now, we've got a difficult time trying to figure out who's going to win here. It's 5:45 left in the first half, and the Bulldogs with James Jackson and the freshman backs right behind him. Jackson keeps it, runs that option down the line for about 3 yards. What dimension does Jackson give the Bulldogs that they didn't have?
Well, they give him certainly the third runner in the backfield, the fullback or the I-back and the fullback, and now with Jackson in there. But they've got to be careful down in here. Vince Dooley doesn't want any errors. They're in terrible field position. Andy Newell, the punter of Clemson, put the ball up perfectly. The ball came down, and it was down at the 5. And it's a tough spot to work from. But Jackson still is a dangerous runner on the option.
Says something to Henderson, who passes it along to Worley. The freshman connection behind Jackson. He'll throw from the end zone under pressure. A strong arm. He wants Lane. Incomplete. That was Wesley McFadden on the coverage.
He had good power on that arm. It's a good call down there, because if it's intercepted, it's like a punt. And if you get by him, you go for a home run. You either go for safe stuff or throw the ball all the way down the field. You don't want to be throwing any flat passes or any check throughs down in this area.
3rd and 8. Play comes in from the sideline. Cassius Osborne and Herman Archie are the wide receivers. It's Worley up the middle. A great run by the freshman for a first down. A.J. Johnson finally made the stop for Clemson, but Worley showed us something on that third down.
You know, I know as a football coach, and if I was the Clemson coach, I'd really be upset with that because you got a third down situation. You're going to force a punt deep in your own territory, and he pops out of there for a first down, takes him out of dangerous area, and gives him 3 more opportunities or more.
Worley is 6'2", 210. He is their tailback of the future, and the future may have arrived. Here he comes. That time he could not get the corner turned. Terrence Mack and Kenny Danforth up there to cut him off. Let's go to Pat Hayden in New York for this update. Pat?
Thank you, Brent. Earl Bruce told me this week that he wanted to throw the ball more today. Here, Jim Carsados finds John Wooldridge. Now he's replacing the injured Keith Byers. A little screen pass for 11 yards in the touchdown. They missed a 2-point conversion. Ohio State leads 19-7. Let's go back to Brent Nero.
All right, Pat, thank you. Ohio State trailed by 7 points. They've jumped back in that one. And here it is a 2nd and 11. Jackson sprints to the right. Incomplete. Pass intended for Jimmy Hockaday, the flanker. He could not hold on. He overthrew him.
Well, Jackson's got a nice little arm. Let's see what we have here. I think he's...
We have poise. We can burn it, all right?
See if we can point.
Got that? All right. We might get good field position to hold it.
Trying to get the offense charged up that they might indeed have some decent field position. 3:52 on that clock. This another big third down for the Bulldogs here late in the first half. Jackson with time, almost intercepted. Delton Hall. Number 35 should have had it.
And if he gets that, if he'd have picked it off, he'd have gone into the end zone for the touchdown. He has momentum. Watch this. Jackson is waiting for a crossing end. Watch him come right into the picture there. Delton Hall, he would have gone right on down for a touchdown.
Now the pressure is on Chris Carpenter, number 6. He is a splendid baseball player and perhaps the best athlete on the Georgia team. Kevin Brady is set back at his own 45. Here's the field position that the Georgia team was trying to avert. Great punt by Carpenter. Great punt. Brady hauling it back. Fumble, but it's out of bounds. And he could not get back to the 30-yard line. That is a 59-yard punt with a 3-yard return. Carpenter bails the Dogs out.
I want my soda.
I want my soda.
Here's why people want their Serta, why they're spoiled for any other mattress. Only Serta goes beyond just being firm, beyond what others do. We top our support with the extra comfortable Serta surface, a unique difference you can feel in a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
Marvin, I want my Serta.
When do you say L.A.?
You know, I used to tend bar. And I've observed that sometimes when you're having a good old time, it's possible to get a little carried away. That's why I like L.A.'s Anheuser-Busch. L.A. tastes great and has just half the alcohol. And sometimes that's a darn good idea. Like my daddy used to say, the real trick to carrying on is not getting carried away. That's beautiful.
L.A., sometimes it's the perfect thing to say.
We're at Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina. I'm Brent Musburger along with Era Parsegan. We have 3.5 minutes left here in the first half. Clemson ahead 7-3 on the strength of a 43-yard touchdown pass from Anderson to his tight end, Riggs. Crumley earlier had kicked a 26-yard field goal to put the Georgia Bulldogs ahead 3-0. And just moments ago, Chris Carpenter bailed out Georgia with a sensational punt. Now it is 1st and 10 for Clemson. Anderson will throw it out to Flowers. Brought down with a great tackle by John Little, the rover back, number 19.
Flowers should have gotten more out of that play. It was a little screen. He had 2 good blockers in front of him, and he did not turn inside to where the seam was, tried to get to the sideline, and only picked up a couple of yards. the play was a better, looked better from up here than what the yardage gave it.
Michigan at the half could be on its way to making it 2 in a row for Bo Schembechler. Here's Flowers again, and the whole right side of that Georgia defense, led by 52 Henry Harris, swarmed on him there. Now Georgia has to be thinking, if we can get the ball back 3 downs and out, we've got plenty of time. 2:40 to go here in the first half.
I also wonder whether or not they'll try to blitz here and go after Anderson or defend. You got to be a little careful here because you get burned when you blitz. But by the same token, Anderson has been hitting open receivers.
Williams and Rollhack are Anderson's wide receivers. Anderson will keep it. Big first down.
Quarterback draw again. Caught him in the right defense. Perfect call against that defense. Georgia was deployed to stop the pass. They're in man coverage underneath with the linebackers and the wide people. This is a design play. We watched them practice it on Thursday. Again, catching the defense in the defense. This particular offensive play was the perfect play against that defense.
They bring the clock down to the 2-minute mark here in the first half. Rollhack comes in motion. Anderson under pressure. On the move, throws it complete to Flowers. But they just got back to the original line of scrimmage because he had been forced back.
John Brantley really put a hit on him that time. He's an outstanding linebacker. He reacted well to the ball. Also, I was impressed with the way Anderson scrambled out of there when he was getting some heat, and he shows much more poise for the lack of experience that he has. I'm impressed with him thus far.
Anderson is 4 of 7 for 71 yards and a 1 touchdown. The blitz is on by Little. He picks it up in time, gets it off to the hot back, George Smith.
Look, he says, look what I got. He did not. He thought the play was going somewhere else. Anderson is blitzed from the left side. Watch here. He's getting heat. He just drops the ball off. He did not know it was there. Hey, surprise, I got a ball. Watch, here's another better angle here. As you see, watch. There's Anderson, throws the ball. This is a remarkable catch because he's not looking for it, but Anderson put it right in his hands.
John Little, the rover back, following in the tradition of Terry Ho, trying to come again from the left side. Anderson under enormous pressure, fires it to Flagger, and he is wrestled down by Greg Waters, number 59.
There was the pressure defense that flushed Anderson way deep. He did manage to get rid of the football, but still lost a lot of yardage on the play.
We've got a timeout.
Very good defensive series that time for Georgia.
With that timeout, a 17-yard loss. So these two campuses are only 70 miles apart, and let's take a look at them.
We're Clemson University. Why not take a closer look at our 12,000 students and their impressive SAT scores and the 9 Fulbright Scholars in 2 years? At our faculty with 2 Presidential Young Scientists and a Guggenheim Fellow. At our campus, the Clemson Computer Center, one of the world's most sophisticated time-sharing networks and one of the best electron microscope facilities in higher education. Clemson University. Take a closer look.
The University of Georgia is America's first public institution of higher education to celebrate its bicentennial. In 1985, special events have focused attention on the university's unique heritage and helped it look ahead to a 3rd century of service. Individual states taking responsibility for providing higher education to their citizens is an idea born in Georgia in 1785. The University of Georgia, celebrating 200 years of teaching, inquiring, and serving.
We're back for the final 49 seconds of the half. Arrow, would you try to block a punt like this or set up a return?
Well, they originally were deployed with 10 people up there. Now they've dropped off, and they've got 8-man front. They're going to rush from the right side, but I think they're going to set up a return here, Grant. Now they're coming.
The heat was on. Little wants a fair catch. At the 31-yard line, 40 seconds to go. No, we're looking at some talented players here, but Down at Auburn, they'll tell you that the best tailback is number 34, Bo Jackson. He is off to an unbelievable start for the Tigers. That's just one of his great moments, and you're going to meet him live at halftime on the Prudential College Football Report. And here, Johnson's arm is hit, interception by Clemson. Henry Walls picks it off. There's plenty of time for at least a field goal. And with 30 seconds, Clemson can think touchdown.
Well, the ball was deflected. Let's take a look at it from the end zone here. Let's see who hits that ball. Right there, 79. And boy, that is a tough break because field position has changed. I don't know. I think he's right at the marginal area for the Clemson field goal kicker.
Raymond Chaffetz gets in, gets a hand on the ball and deflects it. They had gone back to the freshman at quarterback, Wayne Johnson. Now Anderson comes up to the line of scrimmage. He'll throw on first down. He's under pressure, and he wisely throws it incomplete and out of bounds, but there's a penalty flag down. Greg Waters had come in on him.
Grounding of the ball. There was no receiver in the area, and they're going to call grounding of the ball. He was trying to save the yardage so they wouldn't lose and get the negative yardage there. It takes them out of field goal range. The official made a good call there. There was no one in the area. It's also loss of down.
Intentional grounding, loss of down, second down.
That was a right call. Anderson had no one in the area. Well, Danny doesn't think so.
Coaches never do it. Here's second down. Anderson will hand it off on the draw to Flowers. Flowers gets back inside midfield at the 47-yard line where he's run out.
Looks like we have about 20 seconds left. He's got to get the ball down to about the 30 or 35-yard line so that their field goal kicker, if he uses Treadwell, or Sile can kick it a little bit farther, but Treadwell's distance is just about, they've got to get it to the 35. It's about a 17-yard gain that they've got to get if they expect a field goal attempt.
Let's see if they can get the 17. Anderson will throw off to the side to Rob Quick. Quick gets to the 40 and no more. 9 seconds, and the clock continuing to move, and now it is stopped at the 8-second mark. So Rod Quick, the backup fullback from North Charleston, South Carolina, was the pass receiver that time. Next week on CBS, it's the Texas Longhorns. Do you know that Fred Akers has never lost a football game in September since he came to Texas as their coach? The Horns always hook them early, and next week they hook a good quarterback. And the rest of the country will see UCLA against the Washington Huskies, a Pac-10 showdown up in Seattle. They like their football up there in the Northwest as much as they do down here in the Southeast. There's David Treadwell, who was their hero last Saturday. He defeated Virginia Tech with a second chance field goal to make Clemson 1-0, but they will go to someone who is a little bit stronger. Adebere Otorubio from Nigeria, who has been wailing on those kickoffs. Here is a 56-yard attempt by the Nigerian. No good. Three seconds left here in the first half. Vince Dooley conferring with the assistants upstairs. If not for one dropped pass, the Georgia Bulldogs would be ahead in this football game 10-7. And for those of you who may have just joined us a little late, Vince Dooley had a receiver wide open in the end zone. Herman Archie had the ball for an instant and then lost control and couldn't hold on. Now Georgia comes up to the line. And on first down, Johnson goes back. Incomplete. And that's the end of our first half. low scoring. Just what we expected in Death Valley. Coming up, it'll be Jim Nantz and Pat Hayden in New York.
Sometimes getting car financing turns out to be one long hassle.
What kind of car did you have in mind?
A Fiero.
Oh, an Italian car.
It's a Pontiac from General Motors.
They make Chevrolets, Oldsmobiles, Buicks, Cadillacs.
GMC trucks.
This is none of my business, but those are not Italian cars. Make it easy on yourself. Finance your car or truck right at your GM dealer with GMAC.
You understand, we do have to know what you want to do with all these cars.
Nobody knows more about financing and leasing cars than GMAC.
I'm Mr. Goodwrench. You know what starts when your engine starts? Engine wear.
50 strokes, 100 strokes, 200 piston strokes of wear per second. Only a fine lubricant can protect it. Like GM Goodwrench Motor Oil, the motor oil from General Motors that meets or exceeds all GM specifications.
Great protection for me, Mr. Goodwrench.
GM feeling with genuine GM parts.
We'll return with more college football on CBS after this word from your local station. This is CBS.
The most important car buying message you'll ever see.
Now you can drive the Nissan Legend.
300ZX.
No down payment, $299 a month.
$299 at Richard Kelly Oldsmobile Datsun. The legendary 300ZX.
No down payment, $299 a month. But hurry, they'll go fast.
Z's always go fast at Richard Kelly Oldsmobile Datsun.
No down payment, $299 a month. Puts you in the major motion miracle.
300ZX at Richard Kelly Oldsmobile Datsun.
I-585 Pinewood Shopping Center, Spartanburg.
RCV Turf and Tractor in Weaverville, Carolina Farm and Garden Center Greer, C.J. Hamrick & Sons in Boiling Springs, and M&M Tractor Company in Lawrence want to welcome you to their fall clearance sale. Prices are cut on all products, from 8-horsepower riders to the large 60-horsepower diesel tractors. We have effective interest rates as low as 9.9% on some units, and no interest for 90 days on other units. Come by and let these local John Deere dealers satisfy your needs.
Every comedian knows the secret of comedy. Timing. And when buying a new Chevy, the secret... Timing. That's why now's a good time to visit your Piedmont Chevy dealer during their 85 clearance sale. Ooh. Because they're moving all their 85s out to make room for their 86s.
Hey, these guys white fast.
So hurry to your Piedmont Chevy dealer because the...
timing
has never been better. See one of these Piedmont Chevy dealers during their...
timing is everything.
Clearance sale.
Come in now for 7.7% financing on selected models.
People's Court, weekdays at 5:30.
CBS Sports presents the Prudential College Football Report, sponsored by The Prudential, offering a full range of insurance and financial services. The Prudential, the rock, it's strong, it's on the move, it's bigger than life.
Welcome back to the College Football Report here on CBS. I'm Jim Nantz along with Pat Hayden. We are at halftime, and Georgia leads Clemson 7-3. Pat, I thought this was going to be a high-scoring game the way it all started.
It did start out that way, but Georgia always seems to find a way to win close games like this, whether they stay ahead or come from behind. They've done it more than Vince Dooley than just about anybody.
All right, Pat, let's recap now the big story in college football this weekend. TCU All-America running back Kenneth Davis and 5 teammates have been suspended for the year for accepting illegal cash payments from alumni boosters, including Fort Worth oil man Dick Lowe. But today in Manhattan, Kansas, Coach Wacker's, Jim Wacker's Horned Frogs won 24-22. They put all of that behind them. Without Davis in the backfield, TCU went up top. Steve Ankrum to Tony Jeffrey, 41-yard touchdown, and the Frogs led by 1. A new moon over Manhattan. Lee Moon replacing Jim Dickey. Almost pulled out a tie. This touchdown at the final minute pulled the Wildcats within 2. The 2-point conversion broken up by Garland Littles of TCU, and Jim Wacker salvages what has to be a long weekend. Again, the final 24-22 for TCU. Now let's check out the top 10, the best in the country, and strange enough this week, 4 of the top 10 teams are not in action. That includes number 1, Auburn, and we have Bo Jackson joining us live here at halftime. Number 2, Oklahoma opens their season next week. 3rd-ranked USC will host Baylor later tonight at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Number 4, Iowa leading in the 4th quarter, 48-13. Chuck Long has thrown 5 touchdown passes in that game. Number 5, SMU TCU has the week off. 6th-ranked Florida State was 10 points down, but the Seminoles came back to up their record now to 3-0. 7th-ranked Ohio State in front of Colorado, 22-7. That game is at halftime. Quite a few Buckeye fans made the trip to the Rockies. Kind of a rocky start for the Buckeyes. They trailed 7-0, but they came back after this fumble recovery. In fact, in the backfield, John Wooldridge, replacing the injured Keith Byers, has scored 2 touchdowns, and the Buckeyes now lead at halftime 22-7. 8th-ranked Oklahoma State has the weekend off. 9th-ranked LSU, a battle tonight against Colorado State out of the Western Athletic Conference. And 10th-ranked Penn State held on to beat East Carolina. That final was 17-10. The Nittany Lions are now 3-0 on the season.
Did you really say new moon over Manhattan?
Yeah.
We have some other top 20 scores. Michigan, which was so impressive last week over Notre Dame, leads South Carolina at halftime. The score there is 14-3. In the 4th quarter, Alabama leads Cincinnati 45-10. That is definitely a mismatch. Also in the 4th quarter, Nebraska on top of an Illinois. The margin here surprises me, 45-18. Now we have some Illinois' quarterback Jack Trudeau got himself in trouble early. Now, he's been criticized for throwing interceptions this year, but this is not his fault. The ball was tipped by David Williams, his wide receiver, and Chris Carr, number 45, takes it all the way in. That puts them up 14-0. Nebraska has been incredibly impressive today. They've run the option play beautifully. They've thrown the ball deep. They've run power football here. Doug DeBose, you can see he's having a sensational day. Nebraska looks like they finally have it together after a surprise loss to Florida State. We also have some scores in the East, the Ivy League underway, as well as some major independents. Final, Boston College beat Pittsburgh 29-22. Forget about Flutie and Phelan. Watch Sean Holleran to Kelvin Martin. This is the 3rd time they've connected together this season for touchdowns. That is a long one. Second touchdown reception of the day. Also a final. Rutgers over Army. Army loses that. Army won 20-16 there. Again, a final. Penn 10, Cornell 6. One more final for you. Harvard over Columbia 49-17. Again, a final in the Ivy League. Yale 10, Brown 9. And again, a final, Princeton 10, Dartmouth 3. No word where the Brooks Shields showed for that one. Again, a final, Villanova. They're back after giving up football. They beat Iona 27-7. Howie Long of the Raiders has to be happy about that one.
Hey, that's a big win for Jim Young's Army team up there. Still ahead here at halftime, more scores and highlights, and a visit by the nation's leading rusher, Bo Jackson of Auburn. The College Football Report will continue here on CBS as we look at other scores from the East.
A little girl was trapped. I had to save her. She made it. I didn't. I thought about my own little girl. Who'd protect her?
He's coming around. Stevie boy, you live to tell about it.
I got a second chance to protect my own as well as others.
At Prudential, we know most of us don't get a second chance. Talk to a Prudential agent and get the peace of mind that comes with a piece of the rock.
We're all safe now.
Get a piece of the rock. Prudential Life Insurance.
Powerful new financial help is coming. The Rock, the Prudential, is now more than insurance. It's mutual funds, IRAs, stocks and bonds, new products and new ideas, as well as new forms of insurance. It's rock-solid financial help for us all. The Rock, the Prudential. It's strong, it's on the move, it's bigger than life.
Jim Nantz in New York along with Pat Hayden, and a big win today for the Virginia Cavaliers. For the first time in 8 tries, they have beaten Georgia Tech. The final there, 24-13, and the Cavaliers now 2-0 on the season. North Carolina State gets their first win of the year. The Wolfpack wins it by 3. Kentucky comes back from last week's loss to Bowling Green, a 16-11 victory today over Tulane. Arkansas State is leading Mississippi, a possible upset here. This is in the 4th quarter, and it's 10-9. And Mississippi State leads Southern Mississippi 23-13. And Pat, that is also in the 4th quarter.
Well, they're on a winning streak. So is Indiana now. They beat Navy today in the Midwest. 38-35. That's their second win in a row. In the 4th quarter, Kansas leads Indiana State 37-0. In the third quarter, Iowa State trails Vanderbilt, that's tied 10-10 in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, it's Nevada, Las Vegas, and Wisconsin. They are tied up at 13. Check. That's 23-23 in the fourth quarter. And in the third quarter, Ball State and Purdue. Purdue 34-10. And Bowling Green, this is a final, 28 in Miami of Ohio, 24. Brian McClure, the quarterback there, left the game with an injured knee and did not return.
That's too bad. He's trying to break that all-time passing record of Doug Flutie's, and if he misses some games, he might not make it. All right, in the West, some matchups in the Pac-10. Arizona and California now tied 10 apiece. Arizona has just tied it in the second quarter. Also, first quarter, Stanford in front of Oregon, 14-0 now. We'll have the Cardinals against Texas next week here on CBS. Air Force leads at halftime, 31-10 over Rice, 21-0 Wyoming, a winner right now over Fullerton State. That is at halftime. And Montana State last week scored 86 points, but right now they are trailing at halftime against Eastern Washington. That score is 14-3. All right, let's move on to baseball. Earlier this week, Dwight Gooden of the Mets said that he would rather hit a home run than pitch a no-hitter. First of all, let me tell you about St. Louis. The Cardinals came from behind to beat Montreal. That score was 7-6. Meanwhile, let's go to that Mets story now. Gooden at the plate today against Pittsburgh had a home run. He called the shot earlier this week, folks. Amazing. Look at him. Parks this one deep, the first career home run for Dwight Gooden. Mets had an easy time. They won it by the final score of 12-1, and they still remain 2 games back in that National League East. Other baseball finals, it's Houston over Cincinnati. The Astros remain hot, 9-5, the final there. In the 12th inning, Milwaukee and Toronto are tied 1 apiece. And the Yankees have beaten Baltimore, that final score 5-2. Next up, Pat and I will have a peep at Bo Jackson, that is. Auburn's Heisman hopeful will join us live in our New York studio. Meantime, the scores continue from around the country here on the College Football Report.
I was drowning.
Let's go!
Nothing could save me. My children. How would they get along without me? So much more to do.
Breathing, her pulse is back. She's gonna be okay.
I got a second chance to do all those things I always meant to do.
At Prudential, we know most of us don't get a second chance. Talk to a Prudential agent and get the peace of mind that comes with a piece of the rock.
We're all right now.
Get a piece of the rock.
Prudential Life Insurance.
I was drowning.
Let's go!
Nothing could save me. My children. How would they get along without me? So much more to do.
Breathing, her pulse is back. She's gonna be okay.
I got a second chance to do all those things I always meant to do.
At Prudential, we know most of us don't get a second chance. Talk to a Prudential agent and get the peace of mind that comes with a piece of the rock.
We're all right now.
Get a piece of the rock.
Prudential Life Insurance. Bo Jackson is one athlete who today is on top of the world. His team, Auburn, is #1. He is leading the country in rushing, and he is the runaway leader right now in the race for the Heisman Trophy. What more, Bo Jackson is the most sought-after baseball player in the country. Bo Jackson joins us live. Bo, welcome to the College Football Report. First thing I want to know, what do you think? Which is your better sport, baseball or football?
Well, I have to say right now, both sports, they're right there equal, 50-50.
You're going to have a big decision to make. Which sport to go for in your profession? When do you think you'll make that decision?
Well, I think I'll make that decision after baseball season next year, around the first of the summer.
Bo, Auburn has moved from the wishbone to the I formation. You seem to like it. What's the difference for you?
Well, speaking for myself, the difference from the I to the wishbone, well, from the wishbone to the I is running north and south more than east and west with the wishbone.
Bo, I played at USC. We won 2 national championships. There was a lot of pressure there. And I enjoyed football less, I think, as I went up through the ranks. Can a player like you playing at a place like Auburn still enjoy college football, or is it too much pressure?
I enjoy it. I look forward to Saturdays. Well, not practice, but on Saturdays, I'm all get up and ready, and the team is, and it's no pressure, really. Well, you put pressure on yourself.
Oklahoma's been off for 2 weeks while Auburn has played 2 teams. They really have been better than. Is your schedule set up in a way that helps you win a national championship, perhaps?
No, not really. We're going out on Saturday, taking one Saturday at a time, and just hopefully to try to win each game on Saturday, and at the end of the season, let everything else take care of itself.
You've seen Georgia here in the first half. You play them a little later in the year. Any thoughts?
Yes, Georgia, they are a tough team, and from what I've seen, their defense, they're lacking the mental part of the game. They have the physical contact, but they've been let down with some mistakes, and I hope at the second half they come back and have a nice time.
Bo, we've seen what's happened today to TCU. Now, with all the money available from boosters and alumni, how hard is it for a college football star to resist such temptation today?
Well, it's really hard because you always have somebody. Well, first of all, you have to look at the athletes that are in the so-called limelight. And there's going to be always people calling up, say, hey, let's go to dinner or let's do this. But you got to know how to handle that by saying no, or even tell them that you're busy and you can't do that. It's just, well, the best thing for them to do is say, before I do that, you have to check with my coach or somebody and just let it stay at that.
All right, Bo. Hey, thanks for coming by. Good luck next week. A tough one against Tennessee.
Thank you.
Good luck to you both. Stand by. Right now we have, I believe, some updates for you here at the half. It's Northern Illinois and Iowa. That final now, Iowa 48-20. That's the second straight big win by the Hawkeyes. And one more final. Alabama remains unbeaten. They beat Cincinnati 45-10. Stand by for the second half. Georgia in front of Clemson 7-3. We'll see you after the game with more of the College Football Report here on CBS.
The Prudential College Football Report has been sponsored by The Prudential, offering a full range of insurance and financial services. The Prudential, the rock. It's strong, it's on the move, it's bigger than life.
This is a CBS News update. I'm Bill Redeker. The Mexican earthquake disaster gets worse and worse. U.S. Ambassador John Gavin today estimated that 10,000 people are dead or trapped. And as if Thursday's quake wasn't enough, another one hit last night. Martha Teichner reports from Mexico City.
A second quake in 2 days sent panicky Mexicans racing through the streets, out of the center of the city, as fear took over. The shock caused some buildings damaged earlier to collapse. High-rise tourist hotels were evacuated briefly and checked for structural damage. A few guests packed up and left. Working on in the night, oblivious to the commotion, were the rescue workers, still digging as time runs out for anybody trapped alive in the rubble of Thursday's earthquake. Martha Teichner, CBS News, Mexico City.
First Lady Nancy Reagan will go to Mexico City on Monday as a show of support by the U.S. I'm Bill Redeker, CBS News, New York.
Back here live in Clemson, South Carolina, the Tigers leading the Bulldogs of Georgia 7-3. Some of the numbers from the first half. Yards rushing, the Dogs have an edge, but look at the passing statistics. Back here live in Clemson, South Carolina, the Tigers leading the Bulldogs of Georgia 7-3. Some of the numbers from the first half. Yards rushing, the Dogs have an edge, but look at the passing statistics. The Bulldogs have been able to pass for only 8 yards. Turnovers, only 1 in the game so far, that by Georgia. But it was a missed opportunity that was the critical difference in the first half of this game. Keep in mind that Georgia's an opportunistic football team. An era when they dropped that pass, which I thought Archie had caught for a touchdown for a moment, they haven't been the same.
It seems that way. They had 2 great scoring opportunities that first drive down to the 10-yard line. And then, of course, the drop pass, as we see right here as Jackson throws the ball. Herman Archie absolutely has his defender beaten. The ball goes right through his hands, and, of course, Vince Dooley had to be sick about that particular play.
It is a typical performance by Georgia. Tough defense and wait for the big moment, but Clemson may not give him the big moment in this game. Now, pressure is on Dooley. He trails. He's had the big air. What does he do in the second half?
Well, it's interesting. They roared when they came out in the first quarter, made 120 yards. This second quarter was disaster for them. They made 1 first down and 20 yards. They've got to get, I'm sure Vince Dooley is saying, we've got to hit a couple of passes to loosen them up to get that running game going again. But you're right, they're opportunistic.
All right, we'll see how Dooley handles his 2 quarterbacks here in the second half. We're going to be back. It's Clemson and Georgia coming up in a moment.
working. I can come back.
Is it morning already?
You know, he'd be home by now if he had the new NCR PC6. It's nearly twice as fast as the IBM PC. And look, a brighter, sharper screen.
And it's still compatible?
Oh, naturellement. Are you surprised?
Nope, NCR's made top computers for years.
You mean you're not a little bit surprised?
We'll take it.
Oof, I'm proud of you.
A better computer. It's exactly what you'd expect from NCR.
We're all born with the capacity to give, to share. But as we grow, we get busy. We forget. To help revive those childlike qualities, American Express is launching Project Hometown America. Each time you use the American Express card, you'll help your community unite to solve its problems. For the sake of your hometown and the child within us all. Don't leave home without it.
Who's gonna be at the Silver Bullet tonight?
Right, so now it's third down. Coach wants me to call a quarterback draw.
2 Coors Lights, Rod.
So before I can do anything, I get blindsided by this lineman named Everett. We called him the Mount.
Mount Everett.
This guy was so bad, he knocked me straight into bartender.
Yeah, well, he could never be the bartender that you are, Rod.
That's true. But he could be the bar.
There's no slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Coors Light beer.
We'll return with more college football on CBS after this word from your local station. This is CBS.
Now, 7.7% financing, our lowest factory-sponsored rate ever, is available during the Ford Factory Authorized Clearance Sale. 7.7% on every new Ford car in stock, or big cash rebates for cash buyers. 7.7% on select Ford trucks, too, or up to $1,000 cash back on top of a great clearance deal. Now through October 2nd, during the Factory Authorized Clearance Sale. Hurry, see your local Carolina Ford dealer before time runs out. Hey, Coach.
Hey, Jill.
What happened?
Scrimmaging with these guys.
Oh, it looks painful. Bet the bills were, too.
No, got a companion.
Hey, companion?
My companion healthcare doctor. Takes care of emergencies and keeps me healthy with regular checkups.
Everything's paid for?
Yep, no bills, no claims to file.
Maybe I should get a companion.
Oh, then you'd have two.
State employees, you too have the HMO choice. Companion Healthcare, the most complete benefits plan available.
You're watching WSBA TV 7.
We've got a special presentation to make here at the half, and for it, let's join our colleague, Pat Hayden.
CBS is proud to help kick off a new weekly collegiate scholarship program, the Toyota Leadership Award. To tell us a little bit more about this program is the Group Vice President, Sales and Marketing for Toyota Motor Sales USA, Mr. Jim Perkins. Jim, why a Toyota Leadership Award?
Toyota, with its long tradition of leadership, wants to honor special football players whose performances, both on and off the field, best demonstrate the characteristics of a true leader. And Pat, as a past USC Rhodes Scholar and quarterback on a national championship team, I'm sure that you can appreciate the significance of the award.
Jim, what criteria will be observed in selecting these leaders?
Basically, 3 important collegiate areas will be evaluated: team contributions, academic achievements, and citizenship. Qualities which we at Toyota feel should be recognized as vital to the overall development of today's leaders.
And who will assist in the selection of these players?
As you will see in the second half of today's game, each week the athletic department and faculty advisors of the competing schools will be contacted and asked to select 1 player from each team. These players will then be honored on air. Toyota will donate a $1,000 check to each school's General Scholarship Fund. The program's highlight will come at the end of the season, when Toyota will present a special award to honor these young men. Our hope is that today's standout scholar athletes can serve as models for athletes and all students throughout the country. We need to encourage young athletes to aspire to reach the level of achievement that these players have attained.
Well, we at CBS Sports applaud Toyota's efforts to recognize the special all-around achievements of selected scholar athletes. By year's end, we'll have compiled quite an honor roll.
Thank you, Pat. Toyota is very pleased to be a partner of CBS Sports in its telecast of exciting college football action.
Thanks a lot.
CBS Sports presents College Football, sponsored by your Toyota dealer and the spacious 1985 cargo van, Packs It In, and by Prestone 2 Antifreeze. America goes with Prestone.
Ready to go with the second half. We've got a 7-3 game. The Bulldogs will be kicking off. They trail Clemson. Crumley will kick it off. Terrence Ruhlhack at the 15. Out to the 17-yard line before the Dogs swarm all over him. And now here comes that switching change-up defense of Vince Dooley's, finding itself behind with Clemson on top on the strength of an Anderson pass to his tight end, Jim Riggs. It was a 43-yarder. Anderson bringing Clemson up to the line of scrimmage. Kenny Flowers. Now Riggs, the tight end, goes strong to the left. That causes the Georgia defense to adjust. Ruhlhack goes in motion. And they hand off to the fullback. The short man bolts right straight ahead. Kenny Flowers, the ball carrier. That tells a story.
It really does. The thing that we talked about halftime, I'm sure that Vince Dooley talked to his ball club. They have to improve on 1 for 11 and 8 yards to loosen up the Clemson defense. Clemson did a very fine job against Georgia, particularly in the second quarter.
Dooley watching. And again, he comes with Flowers, who is now running at fullback, and Terrence Flagger at the tail. That's still another Clemson combination being used by Coach Ford here this afternoon.
The guy that stepped in there that time was Bill Mitchell, who I think is an outstanding linebacker from Dalton, Georgia. A guy that is really a solid football player. You see that number in there, 56, an awful lot.
It is 3rd and 4. Ruhlhack in motion. Anderson on the delay. Hands off to Flagger. And there's a penalty marker down. May have been a face mask as Greg Waters came in to make the stop for Georgia.
I think you're right, Brent. There's the flag, and I think they'll signal face mask.
Defense, first down.
But take a look. I think it was obviously an inadvertent one right there. 59, Greg Waters, you see right there, grabs a hold of the mask. Not a deliberate face mask violation, so it was only 5.
1st and 10, Anderson back, pops a pass complete at the far sideline. Now he's out of bounds.
Just barely out of bounds there, but a good throw by Anderson. He's impressed me this afternoon. Randy Anderson, just a sophomore, stepping in and doing a good job last week, hit 17 for 220 yards, and I think he's a real weapon in there.
2nd and 10. Now they get the offensive line squared away, and they'll have to waste a timeout.
That could be costly because of formation mix-up.
Anderson will confer with Coach Ford, and we'll be right back.
The 1985 Toyota workforce is going to have you whistling while you work. Introducing the dependable cargo van from Toyota, the newest workhorse of the workforce, with more room than any small van. Together with a tough Toyota 1-ton and Toyota's lowest price work truck, the Standard Bed, this workforce will have you whistling while you work.
Toyota. It's supercharged, the new Energizer AA battery.
From Energizer Science comes the longest-lasting Energizer AA ever made. No other battery can outlast it. It's supercharged.
It's America's newest bundle of energy.
Wires are down. Gotta go. You're gonna go with Prestone.
Driving just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze can leave a radiator looking this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good.
America goes with Prestone.
This one's going to be a war. The defending Super Bowl champion 49ers meet the 1984 world champion Raiders tomorrow on CBS Sports.
In the third, Clemson leading Georgia 7-3 in a costly error.
Yes, a timeout that was taken by Randy Anderson because there was a foul-up on the formation. This is one of the things they wanted to do, multiple formations, but in this particular instance, they made the mistake. He called a timeout. Now they have 2 remaining with an awful lot of football to be played in the second half.
George Smith has checked back in at fullback. Flagger is the tailback, and they split the backs in this formation. Lobs one high, incomplete. Rolhack was the receiver, and Gary Moss, the corner, was all over him, number 3.
They were trying to beat him deep, but Gary Moss dropped right back out of there, number 3, and had Rolhack covered very well. Randy was trying to throw the ball up over everyone. The coverage was there. He has yet to throw an interception, either in his scrimmages, in a game last year in 21 attempts, and thus far this year. I don't want to jinx him, but I thought I might point that out.
Shelton Boyer is split far to the left. They will run Flagger, and they will have to punt. As Greg Waters, number 59, and 42, Brantley, closed in to make the stop.
Well, we'll get a chance to see whether or not there were any adjustments made by the Georgia team, whether they're going to try to run more option or throw the football or see whether they can move it like they did in the first quarter.
Here's Andy Newell. And Little set back deep. Not a spectacular return man, but sure-handed. Vince Dooley does not want to fumble back here. Little for the fair catch at the 31-yard line. And that's where Georgia will put it in play. And a reminder, tomorrow here on CBS, we've got a doubleheader. Our early games, the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Giants will be on in the metropolitan New York area. Then the second game of our doubleheader, the 49ers and the Raiders, which will not be shown in New York, but you will see it live in Los Angeles. The game is sellout. We start at 12:30. On first down, James Jackson will throw, and it is complete to David McCluskey, the fullback. Delton Hall made the stop.
That's just exactly what they needed. They needed to get Jackson out there with a pass completion, get his confidence. Let's take a look at the little misdirection pass. Jackson, who's very quick, comes back, fakes the ball to Tate, then rolls to the strong side and throws to the fullback right there, hits him, and they have just picked up more yardage on the first pass of the second half than they did in the entire first half throwing the football.
McCluskey up the middle, big hole. He barrels inside the 50-yard line. A.J. Johnson and Delton Hall, the free safety in the right corner, had to come up. And take a look at the National League East. The Mets explode after losing that tough one last night to drop a couple of games behind St. Louis, but they can't gain any ground because the Cardinals come up with a one-run victory. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Reds are finally slowed up in the West, 9-5. And the Yankees win one in Baltimore. Second and about 2 yards. Here is Lars Tate. First down. Gets inside the 40, and the Bulldogs are on the move.
They look like the same Georgia team that played in the first quarter here. They're starting to open up big holes. You notice they've been going over that left side. The pass was to the left. Those last 2 runs were right over Burrows and Victor Perry, along with center Anderson. They're doing a good job.
Henderson is the fullback, set in front of Tate's. And Tate into the middle of that Clemson defense. Busy Saturday afternoon. College football, Florida State, the Seminoles win again. Penn State by 7 over East Carolina.
They had a lot of injuries, I think, in that game. When I'm talking about Penn State, had a lot of people miss it. Look at here, Michigan doing a job.
And Boston College wins today with Army over a tough Rutgers team. Rutgers had tied Florida last week. It is Tate again. And he is ripping 3-4 yards. Worley had checked in.
Keith Williams made that play, and had he not, it might have gone for a lot more yardage.
Let's take a look.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brent. Watch the offensive line as they check and come through there. Look at the hole right here that he finds. You'll find Keith Williams, number 57, comes around and makes the play, but the blocking is superb on this drive by Georgia.
Jackson keeps it, and he is stopped. Keith Williams again, number 57. That junior, who is 6'4", 240 pounds, coming up with another big defensive play.
He had 11 tackles in the game against Virginia Tech last week. He's really an outstanding player.
And that gives the Bulldogs 4th and short as a result of that defensive play. Earlier in the first quarter, on 4th and short, they finally called a timeout and settled for the field goal.
They only had about a half a yard to go on that one. I guess they're going to measure this one to see whether or not the nose of that ball is over the line and if it's a first down or not.
Ford and the Clemson staff watching here. Their defense had been sent reeling by this running attack. That's how far he has to go for the first down. Dooley going for it here.
This crowd's starting to get into this. They're going to be roaring. It could affect the snap count. It has in the past. Look at them coming up. Listen to this bedlam. Let's listen to it from below.
And it was McCluskey banging into Williams. Clemson claiming they held him short. Now there was no question that they were going to follow the middle of that offensive line. But watch from the left-hand side, the linebacker, number 57. He reads it perfectly, comes up and meets him right at the pads and knows he cannot give him a half yard and stops him short. 1st and 10 now. Here come the Tigers. Motion. The pitch is to Stacy Driver. Simply defensive execution. I think any coach in the world in that situation would have gone behind his best offensive blocker and tried to get the half yard.
Oh, you're going to have to go for it, no question. He gets the first down, he gets 4 more opportunities. Henderson came in there and made another great play. Just great defense. Vince Dooley was complaining because he didn't feel he got the forward progress and was complaining to the officials, but on the replay it does not look like he got it.
This Georgia defense has started to do a bang-up job here in the second half. They are all over Clemson right now. That was Aaron Chubb, number 28, who had a hand on number 1 and was yanking him down that time.
Well, that was a great play by Chubb. He came in, they were trying to run a misdirection pass, but he was right in on Anderson. Anderson did throw the football and called it an incomplete pass. Let's take another look at it. You'll see Anderson fake the ball and then try to roll away from that. You cannot. There's Chubb, gets his hand on him right there, number 28, pulls him down, but Anderson had the presence of mind to unload the ball.
Let's see what that defensive front can come up with now. He's going to put it up, swing it out here to Driver. He's got daylight. Could be a first down for Clemson.
Beautiful play, Brent, by Anderson. He did not rush it. He waited till Driver came around. Let's take a look at it. This is great work by Anderson. Watch Driver, number 21, come around. It appears that he's covered here. That's Little, but he goes beyond him, and a beautiful throw and great patience on the part of Anderson.
They caught the rover back coming that time toward the quarterback, and they took advantage by looping the tail right in behind him. Now it's a first down for Clemson. Anderson's going to throw it on first down toward the sideline, complete. Ray Williams is the Clemson receiver. Michael Willis with the coverage. Here comes one of the the better baseball players in the South. Ray Williams, number 45. Lifetime, he's hitting better than 400 against Georgia. And as a receiver, well, you remember Dwight Clark, Barry Tuttle, and also Jerry Butler. And here comes Driver trying to come around the corner on 2nd and 2.
Got a little drive going here. Looks awful close to the first down. They move the ball back. It's short. Gave it to him. It is a first down.
Well, they took one away from Coach Dooley, according to Vince from the sideline when he was yelling about the spot on that 4th and short. And this time, Coach, you got one in your direction. Here's a first down now. It's a very impressive Clemson drive against a tough dog defense. Anderson, complete. And there he is again, Ray Williams and Gary Moss on the coverage.
As soon as Anderson picked up single coverage on Williams, he took advantage of it right now. Williams made a great break to the outside. Watch here from an end zone shot. Anderson comes back into the pocket. He gets good protection. You see number 3, Moss covering, but he's got single coverage on Williams, and it's an easy completion. Good reaction by Anderson. Good route by Williams.
The Dogs will have to come up with something defensively here. Clemson has marched to the 25. They'll run Driver on the draw inside the 20, the 15, and down to the 13. Another first down on a 12-yard run by Driver.
Another great call here. A draw play after you've hit them with a couple of passes. It looks like they're going back to throw the ball again. This is what you call sequence football. Taking advantage, they deploy to defend the pass, and a great job of running here by Driver. Stacy Driver, 5'8", 180. There is a place for the little man in college football.
And the pitch is to Flowers. He's down to the 10-yard line.
This has been an impressive drive by Clemson, mixing up the pass and the run, and I am impressed with Anderson. As a sophomore quarterback, he is really demonstrating that he has a great arm, has also had great poise, both in the first quarter as well as this second. The first half as well as this second half.
Clemson has a freshman receiver in the game right now, number 46, who is Keith Jennings. His brother plays on the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's going to be a good one. He's to the right. They bring Rulak to the motion from the left, and Anderson's looking Rulak. The throw in or snow, in and out, but what a great defensive play. Michael Willis.
That almost was Anderson's first interception. He was fortunate that that ball was dropped. Miles Smith dropped the football.
Now it's 3rd down. Slot left for Clemson. Driver is hit right now. Number 59, Greg Waters.
The defense has come to the occasion. They've risen to the challenge. Great job. Also a great defensive call. They played that draw play, anticipated it, just stopped it cold. They're going to force a field goal attempt there.
Like every Waters, Greg, too, is known as Muddy. And now it's David Treadwell. A 30-yard field goal attempt. It's good. It's 10-3. Death Valley prevailing again.
Manage. To handle or direct with skill. Rockwell International Management stimulates the work of its 120,000 employees, 1 in 6 a scientist or engineer. Their elegant solutions to customer needs make Rockwell a world leader. Rockwell International. Managing high technology for global markets.
Yeah, I know I need life insurance, but I hate spending money on something I hope I'll never use and won't be around to enjoy if it ever is used.
Allstate Update. Universal Life. Allstate has life insurance that pays you for living. Allstate Universal Life. It protects your family if you die, and it can provide competitive earnings for your retirement.
So, my family's set if I'm gone, and I'm in the money if I stick around. I think I'll stick around.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Coors showed me how they do things different, all the way down the line. And heat like this, that's important. Why? Well, heat headies up the taste of beer. Any beer. But if you went down to any Coors warehouse, this is what you'd see. Coors, stored cold. Now, Coors is the only one that can say that. It's expensive, kind of a hassle. But Coors distributors think it makes a difference. Right here. A difference worth tasting. Coors is the one.
And here is this week's Toyota Leadership Award, presented weekly to a team member who's been singled out by the athletic department. And today's game leadership winners for Toyota are John Watson from Clemson and Tony Flack from Georgia. Watson is from Bamberg, South Carolina, a zoology major, a 3.47 grade point. Flack is a 21-year-old senior from Greensboro, a 2.7 grade point average. And Toyota will donate a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. Oda Rubio will kick it off for Clemson. And again, we saw the Bulldogs come up with one of those great defensive plays like they have down through the years to save a touchdown. And they're still very much in it. And the kickoff is fielded by Tron Jackson. Out to the 27. Let's show you Michael Willis, coach, and what he did here.
That was a beautiful play. You see him singled up right here. Number 16, Michael Willis, backed up by Smith, Miles Smith. Watch him react here. Comes back, dives to the outside. It would have been a very difficult catch, but it was a great effort by Mike Willis.
First and 10. Motion by Lane for the Bulldogs. Throwing and completing to the tight end, Troy Sadowski. Kenny Danforth with the coverage.
Very nice bootleg pass. Two things that have happened in this second half for Georgia is that Jackson has hit two passes, a little bootleg that time, and that's what they need to add the dimension that they to get into the end zone.
The freshman running backs are in. Worley, he has it on the draw. Broke the first tackle, got to the 46, and James Earl, who's playing the Bandit for Clemson, finally brought him down. Nebraska explodes against Illinois. The Fighting Illini now have dropped completely out of national title consideration, having lost 2 games this year, but Iowa very much in it as they put together 2 victories. Lane again in motion, and here comes Worley. Clemson starting to stalk him. Milton, 87, was in there. McCullough, 96.
Well, they got a tough call coming up here, Brent, with third down and about 3. Whether or not, well, closer to 4, I guess. Whether or not they want to roll Jackson out and throw the football or try to run it. A big call.
And the crowd up again. Spun out to the right, under pressure, throws it incomplete. Mike Isaacs with coverage.
They had a lot of pressure on Jackson. They blitzed the inside linebackers. Jackson did get the ball away, but they could not complete it for the first down. So they have to surrender the ball.
And Carpenter has already punted 4 times in this game. He had one of 58 yards. High, Kevin Brady for the fair catch. And he's got it at the 18-yard line. Clemson will put it in play there. We've got 4:34 in the third. Clemson leading the Bulldogs 10-3.
The world is divided in half. Some can go to the net, some can't. There are good backhands and bad ones. And most important to Bick, some guys have normal skin while others have more sensitive skin. So Bick made the new Bick Orange. It shaves sensitive skin gently and closely. So for normal skin like mine, the original Bick White Shaver. And for sensitive skin, the new Bick Orange. Oh, by the way, some people love John McEnroe, and some people, eh.
These mouth-watering moments of delicious low-fat, low-cholesterol delights were brought to you by the American Heart Association. Because we believe you'll eat right if you know what's good for you. Give us a call. The American Heart Association. We're fighting for your life.
Back in Clemson, South Carolina, I'm Brent Musburger along with Ara Parsegan. The Tigers leading the Bulldogs 10-3, just what we expected on the scoreboard. Approaching the fourth quarter, and the game still very much in doubt, Coach.
Really is. The Clemson has put on a very fine drive in this third quarter for the 3 points, but Georgia also drove down and failed, fourth down and about a half a yard at the 30, at the Clemson 30. So this game is still very much up in the air.
Anderson throws a quick pass, incomplete, not a well-thrown ball.
They threw the ball right into the ground. Timing seemed to be off a little bit. He's getting his signal from the sideline. He's 10 for 19 now for 105 yards, 1 touchdown.
The Tiger paws are very much in evidence down here in South Carolina. 2nd and 10. Flowers brought down. The right side of the Georgia defense was ready. Alvin Ruff with the tackle. Let's go to Pat Hayden now. He's got an update on Ohio State and Colorado.
Brent, Ohio State is playing well after spotting Colorado a 7-0 lead. Ohio State has taken charge and scored 29 consecutive points. Here, George Cooper capping a 74-yard drive. Buckeyes lead 29-7 in the fourth quarter. Let's go back to Brent Nero.
And there is Terrence Mack, who is not playing on the Clemson defense because of heat exhaustion. Flowers busts one for a first down. Mack left and went off, and now he's headed into the team's locker room. So the trainer will try to take care of that heat exhaustion because they will need their big defensive end here in the fourth quarter.
Well, they've lost both. They lost Michael Dean. Now they've lost Terrence Mack, who they say is the best athlete on this football team. They can do just about everything. Was the Bandit quarterback. Came here as a quarterback. He's a versatile athlete. They're going to miss him.
First down. And again, they pitch it to Flowers. The humidity and the heat takes its toll. Remember that this is a later start than normal down here, so conditions are even better than they were at about 1:30.
And it's overcast, and that sun that was of concern, could have been great concern in this fourth quarter, third and fourth quarter, is not visible.
Conditioning will be a big factor as this game starts to wear down. Clemson jumps offside.
Mac Burrows jumped offside that time.
Alabama winning big. They've already defeated Georgia, and Cincinnati loses for the first time. They had been one of the surprise teams this year. Mississippi State and Emory Ballard, a 3-point winner this afternoon. And Ole Miss beats Arkansas State by 2. Here it is 2nd and 12. Anderson hands to Tracy Johnson.
Very conservative call on 2nd down and 11. I thought he'd come out with something a bit more exciting, but they must have anticipated some kind of defense if they could have popped through there. But Georgia was up to the task. There's Vince Dooley, 6 Southeastern Conference championships. He's been at Georgia 22 years. There's only one football coach in America that has coached longer in any school that is active today, and that's Bill Yeoman of Houston.
Here's 3rd and 10. Anderson throwing for Williams. So it was incomplete, and over there on the coverage was Michael Willis again. Number 16 has been a tremendous performer in Dooley's secondary.
He sure covered a lot of ground that time when the ball was in the air, because Anderson really hums it. I mean, he didn't have much air under that ball. That ball was really flying to the receiver.
Newell punting. His long on the day is 51 yards. Now the sun is beginning to peek out from behind those clouds, and Little looks up into it, makes the catch at the 23, gets out to the 32. He had been fair catching for the last quarter and a half. That time he did not, and he picked up an additional 5 yards. So when we come back, the Bulldogs will have possession.
You could choose Heineken solely because it's far and away Europe's favorite, and Europeans know their beer. Or you could choose Heineken because it's far and away America's #1 imported beer. Americans know their beer too. Or you could open it and pour it and choose it for the best of all possible reasons. Heineken is the best beer in the world.
Come to think of it, I'll have a Heineken.
You're about to see an unusual race. 3 European performance sedans against the all-new Toyota Cressida.
Go get him, James.
The Cressida is a luxury car with limousine-style comfort and features. And the new Cressida's independent suspension and electronically fuel-injected twin-cam 6 fits right in with its European counterparts. The Toyota Cressida. It's up with the best of them in every way but one. Price.
Did we win, James? By about $15,000, sir.
Oh, what a feeling,
See Texas play Stanford or UCLA against Washington next Saturday on CBS Sports.
They have told me through the years just how big football is in the South, but you don't realize it until you come to a place like Clemson, see this crowd and game. Oh, yes, sir. We did have this problem in this contest. We have 4 Johnsons, and we have 4 Jacksons. And count them. We've got 8 Williams. That was your job last night, to memorize, differentiate.
Yeah, which was it? Keith, Pat, Perry, Ray, Rodney, Greg, Henry, or Todd. And then we've got a lot of guys named Terrence.
All 3 of them spell their first name differently, I might add. First and 10. Now the Bulldogs, trailing by that touchdown. They come right straight ahead with David McCluskey. First down is so important for this Georgia team. They have not passed the ball well, and they would like to get into a 2nd and short. But here they come up with a 2nd and 7, and we'll see what Jackson is forced to do. Motion, and he pitches back to Lars Tate. Dwayne Meadows, fresh face in that defensive line for Clemson.
Well, they just have about maybe a yard and a half to make the first down. Clemson's been doing a good job on short yardage situations.
Whenever it's 3rd and short, here comes the crowd. Jackson pitches to Tate. First down. Cross midfield. Delton Hall, number 35, rides him down.
Jackson did an excellent job in handling the option play under a little pressure. Watch him as he comes down the line. They confused him with a little formation change. Deals the ball off nicely to Tate. He gets enough leverage at the corner, and he really can accelerate.
They make a switch and bring in the freshman duo. Tate is out. Worley is at the tail. Henderson with him. Time running down in the third. Jackson throws complete on first down. Mike Isaacs, the defensive back, and Herman Archie pulled that one in and held on.
Well, they got a nice little drive going. Jackson seems to be settling into that position. I think Vince likes what he sees right now.
Now they've got a little breathing room. 2nd and 4. Henderson, he comes straight up the middle for a first down. Pat McKinney forced to make that stop with just 5 seconds left on the clock and running down here in the third quarter. Time has run out. So we've come to the end of the third quarter. Clemson leading 10-3. We'll be back after this message and a word from your local stations.
Now with Castrol, the motor oil engineered for smaller cars, you'll save more than wear and tear on your engine. You'll save on Prestone antifreeze, Simonized wax, STP gas treatment, Purelator filters, and more. In every 12-pack of Castrol are rebates worth $45. So Castrol makes things easy on your budget while it makes things easy on your engine. The Castrol money-back 12-pack.
Hey, I'm here for your season kickoff.
Well, how can I help you?
See, I've got this lawn.
How big?
It's 100 yards long.
Well, we've got a full line of Honda lawnmowers, but I think you need a Honda lawn tractor.
And I've got outdoor lighting.
Well, I've got Honda generators, and if you're planting, you may need a Honda tiller.
I'll take one.
What will you be planting?
Quarterbacks.
The Honda season kickoff, September 14th through 22nd.
This is CBS.
Color Time, America's largest rent-to-own system. Why? Because at Color Time, you can get what you want. A name-brand television, VCR, stereo, or major appliance delivered immediately. And for as little as your first week's rent. Thousands of Americans are discovering renting to own the easy Color Time way, and so can you. Call now and
get what you want at Color Time. I got him!
Call the Color Time dealer nearest you in Spartanburg, Anderson, Asheville, or Greenville.
When you need the best, just turn to Poe.
For value and performance, you can count on the professionals, the Poe Corporation and Black & Decker. See Poe now for outstanding savings on these Black & Decker professional power tools. They're built tough, they're built to last, and they're built to make any job easier. From the job you do every day to the once-in-a-lifetime job of restoring a symbol of hope and freedom.
The pros always turn to Poe.
Divorce Court, weekdays at 5 on TV7.
We prepare to start quarter number 4 with Clemson leading Georgia 10-3. Georgia scored first in this game on a field goal in the first half. Then Clemson came back with a touchdown pass from Anderson to Riggs. They have added a field goal, and Nero, what can we expect in this final quarter?
Well, you know what they say about Georgia and the Vince Dooley coached teams. I mean, they come out here, they're opportunistic, and they feel that the fourth quarter is theirs. Clemson feels it's theirs. We got a whale of a ball game and 15 minutes of excitement ahead.
1st and 10, and Worley, the freshman, ridden down by 84, Dwayne Meadows.
I think he ran away from the hole that time. The hole was designed to go off tackle to the right. And he tried
There's one player who'd like to be out there, Michael Dean Parrott. He is the brother of William of the Chicago Bears. Michael Dean is out because of an injury, watching from the sideline. He was watching his brother play on Thursday night against those Minnesota Vikings. He'd like to see him play some more. He wants the Bear coaches to put him in. 2nd and 9. Jackson sprints to the left. Goes for the first down for Georgia. And inside the 20-yard line.
There's the dimension that Jackson gives the Georgia offense. He got outside because there was a great block on the contained man, and he is can really turn it on.
Let's think ahead here. If we get in the end zone, do we go for 2 early in the 4th quarter, or do we kick the 1 and settle for a tie? You're the coach. That's what you're supposed to do. Think ahead.
I think at this stage with 14 minutes to go, I think he will go for the 1 point. Plenty of time.
Danny Ford is awfully tough when he takes a lead here, isn't he?
Yep.
Here's 1st and 10. Here's Worley. He gets 5 around that left side.
This is right down to the hard, tough football that they play in the South. Boy, I'll tell you, this has been a whale of a ball game. There's been a lot of hitting, tough hitting. And the game has swayed back and forth. There's Ford, there's Vince Dooley. He likes this drive. He just hopes that nothing happens to keep him from going into the end zone.
Worley was shaken up a little bit. He left the field, and Lars Tate comes in at the tail. Off the option, Jackson keep it. Goes for the corner, busts in, Georgia touchdown. Jackson dimension that has turned this game around.
And they've had difficulty containing him. That has been the big problem for Clemson, particularly those last 2 plays.
And just as you predicted, we'll kick the extra point. We'll take the tie right now. We've still got 13 minutes, and Jackson has turned momentum in our direction.
Take another look at it as Jackson comes around, fakes the ball, keeps it, comes on down, turns it to the inside with plenty of daylight. You can see the kind of speed and quickness he has. He's not a big man. He's only 5'11", 175, but now we know why Vince Dooley wants to play him.
Last year, they came down to the closing seconds. A 60-yard field goal by Georgia did it. We're headed there again.
I found a place where we can put up a cabin.
I'd like to see it.
When you've got to go places where the road comes later, whistle for the 1985 Toyota 4x4, the most powerful small truck ever built, with the highest running ground clearance of any small 4x4. No wonder it's the best-selling small 4x4 in America.
They plan to put a road in?
You care?
Another Strohs and a Stroh light. So, with 30 seconds left, Monroe hits from the corner. But Goodrich comes right back with a 15-footer off the glass. Now, the Pearl gets the ball again with only 3 seconds left. 2, 1. You missed. So did the Pearl.
Strohs and Stroh Light. Fire brewed for great taste and good times.
On the NFL Today, Herb Cross live from the LA Coliseum on the 49ers-Raiders matchup. Plus, blitzing your way to success tomorrow on CBS Sports.
We are back, and Crumley getting ready to tee the ball up and kick it off here for the Bulldogs. Williams and Rulehack are back deep for Clemson. Down at the 18-yard line.
Let's take a look and see why this play was successful. Watch here as the right guard comes around and seal blocks. Both the tackle and the end block to the inside. The fullback comes out here after being faked to. Jackson reverse pivots here, comes on down the line with the trailing back. And that's why Jackson was able to get that ball into the end zone.
Now Clemson trying to regain the lead. They run Flowers on first down to the sideline. He gets out beyond the 30-yard line. Michael Willis, who has played a whale of a game at right corner for Georgia. Number 16, he's from Garland, Texas, a senior. 5'10", 190 pounds. He is a junior college transfer, an All-American out of Taft Junior College. Flowers at the tail has run 14 times for 79 yards. It is 2nd and 8. They run for the first down. Flowers again, and he is met by Bill Mitchell, who's been all over the field. That hole was opened by Big John Watson.
Well, both teams have got to be patient. There's plenty of time in this football game, but any kind of a turnover, any kind of a break can lead to a field goal that can determine the outcome of the game, and this is what we felt at the beginning of this contest.
First and 10. Anderson will put it up right away. Pump fake. Going deep. Rulhack is open, and he's got it. Ray Williams was working the far sideline, and Rulhack broke free and made the catch. Gary Moss.
Let's take a look from the end zone. Anderson pump fakes. He puts the ball up there. Perfect for Rulhack, and he beats Gary Moss. That ball was dropped in there as perfectly as you can.
Terry Rulhack's great concentration, showing you why he has All-American credentials. And a first down for Clemson at the 25. 11 for 21 and 145 yards through the air is Clemson. Right up the middle is Kenny Flowers.
Boy, that was a perfectly executed play, Brent. I've been impressed with Anderson's throwing ability and his poise on the field.
He had two receivers break free at the right time, and he hit the correct one in Rulhack. 2nd and 8. Anderson to throw again. Under a rush. Throws incomplete downfield that time. John Brantley was coming in on the quarterback. He's the Mike linebacker, number 42.
Lack of coordination again between Williams and Anderson. Williams broke to the inside, the same thing we saw earlier, and Anderson threw the ball to the outside.
Third and 8. Clemson on the day. 8 of 15 in third down conversions. Under pressure again, throws for Boyer, incomplete. And Moss was working over there. Anderson took a tremendous lick. We've got a lot of excitement here today, and then tomorrow, Irv Cross will take us live to the Coliseum. They're sold out in Los Angeles. You folks out there will be able to watch the Raiders live in the big one against the 49ers. Jimmy will analyze it before the game, and Dick Vermeil will talk about it throughout the afternoon. It's a 40-yard field goal attempt by David Treadwell, the hero from a week ago. It's up. It's good. Last week, David Treadway was a last-second hero. Today, they made him show his stuff 11 minutes and 35 seconds earlier.
When the big Q flows, America goes.
Hey, that truck runs, a Fisher & Son doesn't.
Only gets the big Q. Quaker State.
Well, you can depend on number one.
Fuel pop, they start with Pennsylvania-grade crude.
Nothing like Quaker State.
It's a one-of-a-kind formula. Stable viscosity, keeps the oil flowing, protecting, no matter what.
No substitute for quality. I got two great partners.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
We got tired of hearing about our friends' brilliant investments in real estate.
Yeah, I'm saving on taxes, my money is working, property's growing in value.
So finally, we did something brilliant. We called our Century 21 office.
Their investment professional knew all the ropes, and guess what? We're saving on taxes, our money is working, our property is growing in value.
All you gotta do is pick up the phone, put number 1 to work for you. Century 21.
Wednesday, an innocent child kidnapped. A desperate mother with only one place to turn.
I'm the man you called.
Their only hope, The Equalizer, Wednesday.
We are back in Clemson. It's 13-10, the Tigers with the lead. David Treadwell is responsible for that difference right now. Adebere Oderubi from Nigeria, because he possesses a slightly stronger leg, he will kick it off. The Bulldogs looking for a return. Lane, though, deep in the end zone, decides to down it. It'll come out at the 20. I know a young man who is very happy about Clemson being ahead right now. He's watching from a hospital in Orlando, Florida. His name is Carlin Box. He was a junior strong safety here at Clemson, and he suffered a tragic automobile accident down in Florida. And Carlin, I just want you to know that a lot of your teammates have come up to me and said, make sure you say hello to Carlin. He'll be watching us. Now Georgia tries to go to work against Clemson. Jackson pulls out. First down, one at Henderson. Penalty flag is down. A.J. Johnson was the defensive back working in this critical decision now by the officials. Going to go against the Clemson defensive back.
Defensive pass interference, spot foul, since it's less than 15 yards, automatic first down.
I think it was A.J. Johnson. He came in there late, knocked the ball away, but he made contact with him before he got there.
As a result, Jackson and the Dogs have a first down at the 35. They hand to the tail, Lars Tate. McCullough making the stop. Plenty of time here if Georgia doesn't panic, and they seldom do under his leadership.
No, they're a fourth quarter football team. I can't think of the number of times that they have won games in the fourth quarter. If I was Clemson, a Clemson coach or a Clemson player or supporter, I'd still be very nervous.
Again, it's Tate. They run him way over to the left-hand side, and James Earl cleans up, but the defensive player earlier strung him out. Number 55 got in there to help out. Henry Walls was the man. It's third down. Lane comes in motion. Jackson rolls right. He'll keep it. Trying to get the first down. Had to get to the 45-yard line.
He made it easily.
And it is the running of Jackson.
No question about it. Clemson is having a difficult time and attempting to contain him. Rolled out trying to throw the football. And he takes off when he sees daylight. He's very quick.
Clemson playing without its best athlete on defense. Now they run Tron Jackson across midfield. Richard McCullough. 96. Got a hand on him to bring him down. Georgia with a fresh tailback every time you turn around. In this heat and humidity down here, has a strong pair of legs to come at you.
Another thing also, in addition to being able to run that ball, I'm talking about Jackson, he also can throw it. I think he's got a pretty good arm.
We're going to see it.
There it is. Up.
He threw high that time to Hockaday. You can see some shadows. Now, this will be the position from which the Clemson deep man must look up into that sun. This is one of the few football fields in the country that runs east-west rather than north-south.
Yes. This one in the Los Angeles Coliseum is pretty, I mean the Orange Bowl. And Miami runs east and west.
It's third down. Jackson, and here comes Lane on the end around. This beat Baylor last week. Inside the 30. Inside the 15-yard line. The very same play that worked twice last week. This time hits for 37 yards.
Last week, the same play, and Lane was the leading ground gainer for Georgia against Baylor. Here it is again, beautifully set up, deals the ball off, no contain. Look at the wall, the Georgia wall. Lane takes it down the sideline. No one in front until he gets down there where Archie...
Here is where the loss of Mack really hurt them. They practiced that play defensively, and he's not out there. Now they run Jackson straight ahead. He gets to the 6-yard line, and the Bulldogs are knocking on the door in Death Valley. There is Freddie Lane. I'd want a glass of water, too. If I had to pick any play that wouldn't work against Clemson's defense today, it would have been the end around with Lane. Vince Dooley's assistants knew just the moment to call it. It is Henderson, fumble in the end zone, loose ball. Touchdown recovered by the Bulldogs. Georgia goes ahead as Peter Anderson, their great center from Glen Ridge, New Jersey, has saved the day for the Bulldogs.
What a drive, 80 yards. There's Anderson, who recovered the fumble for the touchdown. And we're going to take another look at it from a different angle after this, after the extra point.
Steve Crumley. As the Bulldogs move 80 yards in 8 plays. The extra point is good. Georgia goes back ahead.
Take a look at it from the side here. Gives the ball to the fullback. He comes through. He's getting some yardage. And just as before he hits the ground, the fumble. It's right in the end zone. Had Clemson recovered the ball, it goes out to the 20-yard line. But Anderson, being alert, the center, who had been moved from guard. Here's another angle from it.
Watch Anderson crawling, trying to open a hole.
There's the ball.
That's the difference in our game. It's 17-13, Georgia.
Hey, get him some water over here.
This bartender's the next big league pitcher and loves to serve fire-brewed Strohs. See what I mean? That was his fastball. That was the curve. Look out. Wild pitch.
What was that?
Relief pitcher.
Strohs and Stroh Light for great taste and good times.
Radio Shack knows when you're working for the future of your business, you need the high performance of the Tandy 2000. The performance to manage your business. The high performance to create and design. And the performance to market and sell. The high performance of the Tandy 2000 can meet your needs today and tomorrow. Tandy computers in business for business. Only at Radio Shack.
See Texas play Stanford or UCLA against Washington next Saturday on CBS Sports.
All the excitement you'd expect from Georgia-Clemson. It has become one of the rivalries in college football. The middle, out to the 23-yard line. And we've got more college football excitement coming your way next Saturday. The Texas Longhorns against the Stanford Cardinal. Most of you will see that game. The rest of you will see the Pac-10 battle as the Huskies of Washington will be taking on the UCLA Bruins. 3:30 Eastern Time on CBS. First and 10 for Anderson. Rolls to the right off the fake. Under pressure. Complete to the tight end, Jim Riggs. First down. He is tremendous under pressure, that young quarterback.
I think both teams have found quarterbacks that can move the ball. It looks like both of them have gelled offensively. Coming into this game, neither has established a real good offense. But boy, in this game, everything has happened.
Randy Anderson is 6'5". He's 185 pounds. He's a red-shirted sophomore. Majoring in administrative management here in Clemson as we see one of the Bulldogs down on the field. Riggs is a tight end for Anderson, has caught 3 passes for 83 yards. We'll be right back.
Aha! There's a thief in this attic. This skimpy amount of insulation can rob you blind on your fuel bills.
Fight back with the attic blanket from Owens Corning. It's the thickest, most powerful roll of thermal protection you can have. It can help you save money on your fuel bills.
It is an open and shut case.
Owens Corning. Our building products put your house in the pink.
When you've got a business to run, you've got to watch every penny. And pick a partner you can count on. The 1985 Toyota Standard Bed truck has the power and the payload to handle the job. And all the toughness that's made Toyota the #1 selling small truck in America. Payload and power make the $59.98 Toyota Standard Bed a partner that's worth every penny.
Oh, 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 what a feeling, Toyota.
This one's gonna be a war. The defending Super Bowl champion 49ers meet the 1984 world champion Raiders tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Seldom is a center a hero, but Pete Anderson is, and I asked him about moving to guard to center on this Georgia team.
The most disappointing thing was, of course, losing Keith Johnson because he was such an important member to our offensive line unit. Moving from guard to center hasn't been that difficult for me. As long as I get the practice time at that position, I feel quite comfortable there. And luckily, we've been able to solidify the other players into the guard and tackle positions where we haven't had too much shifting this year, so that's been good for the team.
So he is the glue that holds that Georgia offensive line together, and now he is the hero that has them ahead 17-13. 1st and 10 for Anderson. He'll operate with Driver and Flowers behind him. On the long count, he'll throw. Incomplete. Pass was high to Williams. And Michael Willis was the defensive back who took the opportunity to deliver a lick when you get one of those wide men up in the air.
He got a lot of pressure from the inside. Had to release it sooner than he wanted.
2nd and 10 and 8 minutes. And Era, what about Anderson and the Clemson attack?
Well, you're gonna see draws and screens and throwing the football. That's the way it looks to me. Here he comes back out, fakes his sprint draw. There's the interception.
It's little. The Rover back has done it for Georgia. It is the most glamorous position on that Georgia team. You can talk about the tailback out at USC.
And the first interception for Randy Anderson.
But the #1 man in Georgia that the fans want to know about is who's going to play Rover. Jake Scott, remember him with Miami? He was one of the first great ones. Now the Bulldogs are going to work on the clock. And it is from the tail, Lars Tate.
Let's take another look at this interception. Randy comes back, fakes the ball on a sort of a sprint draw. Now he's trying to hit the crossing end, and watch, little step right inside. Beautiful timing on the play. And Anderson has the first interception of his career.
Anderson forced that ball. He's been successful with a tight end. You can't burn the Dogs' defense all day in that regard. They run McCluskey right straight ahead, and Pat McKinney, number 74 for Clemson. 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Georgia leading Clemson. Anderson wanting another time at bat with Ruhlach talking to him on the sideline, telling the young quarterback what he can do with his pattern, how he can get himself open. Terrence Mack has returned to the Clemson defense. And it's Tron Jackson. Hitting so hard now the helmets are starting to come off. Jackson has his handed back. He'll head back into that Georgia huddle, having given the Bulldogs another first down. There's the Rover who returned. Terrence Mack forced to play anchor in today too. And Georgia running game has come to the front. McCluskey battles for daylight. Gets inside the 20 with his second effort.
Clemson needs to hold on this drive and force nothing worse than a field goal. Otherwise, the clock and the score will definitely be against them. They did pretty well on that play, but these next two downs are very, very critical if they expect to get back into the game.
What has hurt this Clemson defense here this afternoon is that they were prepared for more of a drop-back passer. Jackson is a sprint out right and left. Then they lost their bandit on defense. Now they run Henderson, the fullback, right straight ahead. And this for Clemson coming up is the biggest defensive play of the game. 5:46 and it's third down.
Brian, I think they've got to go into a goal line type of thing. They've got to let all the stops out here because it's about third down and 3. You know that probably Jackson's going to roll out and try to keep the ball to get the first down. At least this is my guess right at this point.
They are using Mack as the bandit. They've got Brunson in as the anchor in. They've got to have their key defensive player, and Jackson will call a timeout.
Did not like what he saw there, and he's going to come over and get the right play on.
And this is the time when a quarterback needs to take a timeout. 5:19 to go in the game. Don't get rattled down here because you're on the verge of a win as Vince Dooley talks to his assistants upstairs.
He's getting the information. Apparently he anticipated another front, a different defense. Jackson did not like what they had called.
For the first time today, he is looking at Terrence Mack as the bandit. When he peered out across the line of scrimmage, Mack had started to move on him.
Probably a very wise move. You see, both teams have 2 timeouts. More important at this stage, of course, to Clemson than it is to Georgia. Georgia would like to run more time off that clock. Plenty of time, though, but a very critical play as you down here, as you pointed out. And the Wolverines did a leading handily against South Carolina.
Big Ten scoreboard showing you how they fared this week. And the Big Ten has enjoyed 2 very successful weeks. Illinois comes up a loser. They were 9-0 last week, and here it is. And Clemson stops them. It'll be a field goal opportunity if Vince Dooley wants to go for it. When he sees where the ball is spotted, he definitely will run this score if he can to 20-13, leaving Clemson inside of 5 minutes. And here's where you gotta love the 2-point conversion after a touchdown. What we're looking at right now is that Clemson can come back with a touchdown and still go for a win. You gotta love that rule. It's a 31-yard attempt. It's good. Steve Crumley, who grew up there in Athens, Georgia, played his high school ball right in the shadow of the campus.
Now the question is, how disturbed is Randy Anderson, the Clemson quarterback, with that interception? You saw the shot that you had when you pointed out that Rulak was trying to quiet him down, keep him poised. Let's see whether or not the effect of that interception, because he's got to come out here and put that ball in the air again.
He'll have 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Chip, ain't but one way for the play. Get up in there and knock the full like that. Don't ever come up in there, or I'm going to make a big play. Get up in there.
The pageantry, the excitement, and the drama of college football. Next Saturday, most of you will see the Texas Longhorns against the Stanford Cardinals. The rest of you will watch the Pac-10 showdown, UCLA and Washington, 3:30 Eastern Time, CBS. Here is where a return is critical. If they can give young Anderson some breathing room. Crumley's ready. To the 15. He's stopped there by that good specialty team play by the Bulldogs. Now be for Clemson not to get rattled.
Well, I think if I was Danny Ford, I would bring Randy Anderson before he went in on this series of downs, reassure him that he's done a great job. If that was just one of those fluke things, the interception, take him right back down the field. Make sure that his confidence is there, because they have to put the ball up with screens, draws, and also passing the football.
They're going to throw on first down. Over the middle, incomplete. John Brantley, the linebacker. And the crowd wanted interference.
Anderson comes back. You can see the coverage. There's 4 people deep. Little check through by the back. Let's see where there's interception. Boy, that's awful close. That looks like he makes contact before the ball gets there.
The crowd certainly thought interference. Second down. Anderson is 12 of 27 for 162 yards. 1 touchdown and that critical 1 interception. Back has time. Incomplete. And again, he wanted his tight end Riggs, who was open momentarily.
Might have been distracted by the defender putting his hand up there, but he looked like the ball was right there.
I'm not so sure that they didn't go to the pass a little too quickly here. You've got 4.5 minutes. You could have run a draw or something, maybe tried to ambush. You're putting a lot of pressure on Anderson to throw that ball on every down, and I wouldn't give the run up this early in the ball game.
Well, they've got a long way to go. They're on the 18-yard line.
Here is Anderson. Incomplete. That time he overthrew Boyer. It's 3 downs and out.
What we saw earlier when the coaches were talking to the defensive team, in the event that they did not move the ball, he is really working on the defense to hold this Georgia team and get that ball back again.
Clemson will punt. Andy Newell out of Hemingway, South Carolina. And there's the rover man, a Little.
Great kick.
Little's got it for 29. Starts upfield. Gets to the 39-yard line. We are live in Clemson, South Carolina. I'm Brent Musburger along with Eric Marsigan. 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Georgia leading Clemson 20-13. Early in the 4th quarter, Georgia tied it on an 11-yard run by Jackson. But then Clemson came back with a field goal to take a 13-10 lead before a fumble was recovered by center Pete Anderson in the end zone for the Bulldogs to give them the touchdown that now is our difference. Jackson, who has taken over as quarterback, hands off to Lars Tate. And the Dogs will just pound away at that clock with Terrence Mack, number 12, helping out on that stop. And Earl was also there.
Looked like Earl's got an ankle. He's coming out of there. They've really been hit hard at their outside linebacker. Their anchor end and their bandit end. They've had all kinds of problems.
Second down for Jackson. Lane comes in motion, goes back. They run Tate again. Now what Georgia wants to avoid more than anything else is the fumble.
Not only that, they have a 3rd down situation coming up. I think I'd put the ball in the hands of Jackson on a keeper because he is dangerous. They've got about 2.5 yards to go for the 1st down.
3rd down for the Bulldogs. Crowd on its feet in Death Valley.
There he goes.
On the sprint, wants the 1st down, and he's got it.
Georgia did a great job of cutting down the contain man again. Jackson gets outside and gets leverage. And away he goes. He's got great quickness. The only favorable thing about that for Clemson, it did stop the clock because he went out of bounds.
What a big afternoon this has been. And coming up next, we'll have that college football report. Jim Nance and Pat Hayden, they'll have all the scores from around the country. Highlights for you. Inside of 3 minutes here. They run McCluskey. McCluskey and Lars Tate are the running backs for Jackson. Vince Dooley was unsettled about his quarterback. He told us that at the very top of this broadcast. I think he's a lot more subtle right now.
Well, I think he'd be very pleased to see the statistics. His football team has got over 300 yards already on the ground, which is quite a production.
And it's Henderson, the freshman fullback, getting close to another first down. Georgia brings the clock down toward the 2-minute and 10-second mark.
You know, for a number of years, Perry, Refrigerator Perry, anchored the middle of that Clemson line. You take 300 and some odd pounds in there, he was tough to move around. You lose him, you got to rebuild the interior defensively, and that's where they've been hurt on the interior line as well as the injuries to the outside backers. Give it to Georgia. That offensive line is really doing a job of blocking.
Third down, fumble. Tate goes for it, but Clemson jumps in on it. Clemson has recovered. Kenny Danforth, the strong safety from Aiken, South Carolina, has given the Tigers one more chance.
A minute and 42 and 2 timeouts, and the ball is at the 41-yard line. There's plenty of time. And keep in mind, as you pointed out, Brent, the 2-point opportunity. The Georgia Bulldog defense is going to have to straighten up their backs and get after them.
Anderson is back. Drops it off over the middle to Flagler. He's across midfield.
Should stop the clock. It's a first down. Tackle, number 73 of Clemson moved, drew the Georgia Bulldog defender off. Let's see if it's called that way.
Disregard the flag. Defense came across, and the offense raised up. No penalty.
Started the clock. Now it begins. Anderson pulls out. Caught by Ruhack.
Great catch. 35. Great catch by Ruhack. That ball was low. He took it right off the ground.
That's still another first down, and now there's 1:23, and the Tigers are coming back at Georgia. Anderson to put it up again. Ooh. Incomplete, wanted Williams.
Just overthrew him. Had him open. Uh-oh, he's down.
Anderson being helped back up. At the 45, he was shaken up as he released the ball. Minute 7 to go. It's 2013. Georgia leading. Clemson must stick it in the end zone. Anderson throws deep toward the end zone, and Boyer in the air and intercepted. Little has done it again.
Is he a player? Was second down, rolled out of the pocket, threw it up in the air in hopes that there would be a catch. Let's see how Little gets this ball. What a, he comes over the top and makes a sensational catch of that ball. Fantastic.
It is the Rover back to the rescue one more time, coming up with a heroic effort, his second interception of the game, and now they must run out the last minute.
Clemson is going to have to use their timeouts here to kill the clock. timeout. They just took their second.
And while we've got the timeout, let's pause, take a deep breath. We'll be right back at Clemson.
Warm moments, she's such a delight. Rub-a-dub, baby, the water's just right. Snuggle down cozy, baby, sleep tight. Let our gentle flame keep you warm tonight. Warm moments, for those warm moments, nothing warms you like gas.
Warm is what a gas home is all about. And if you're beyond natural gas service, enjoy the efficiency of gas by using propane.
Nothing warms you like gas.
Technology is taking over the world. You can keep up with it, or you're going to be left behind. That's why I joined the Army.
From microchip circuitry to laser technology, the world's largest school for high-tech skills is the Army.
Bravo, go active. Bravo, lock, 05.
Be all that you can be.
I don't intend to get left behind.
Find your future in the Army.
51 seconds, and Georgia closing in on a victory that would be their first in Death Valley since 1976. Want to know how good this Clemson team has been? When they took on Georgia during the Herschel Walker era, not once did they allow Walker to score a touchdown. And yet here this afternoon, they have allowed Little and friends from Athens, Georgia, to come in here and seize control in the fourth quarter of this game. And in the process, Vince Dooley has found him a quarterback. Jackson keeps it out close to a first down.
And he has been a major factor in this second half. Even though there were not that many completions, you take a look at the yardage. They've gained 350 yards in this game, and I'm talking about Georgia. They're averaging over 5.5 per carry. And that's the difference. And there's the other timeout, the last timeout.
We've got to thank a fine crew that came down here to Clemson, South Carolina, and enjoyed the hospitality and did a great job. Kevin O'Malley, our executive producer. Rick Lasavita produced the game, and it was directed by Joe Assetti. Our associate producers were Scott Johnson and Danny Four. And the field technical manager was Doug Fleetum. And thanks to all the crew, especially those gentlemen who gave us the great pictures here this afternoon right there on the cameras. You can't beat football coverage on CBS, be it Saturday or Sunday. It's #1. Now it is up to Georgia to salt this one away. The final 30 seconds. Vince Dooley, he did not feel all that good about this game when I was down there in Athens earlier this week. He was uneasy about what he might encounter, and rightfully so. Clemson's so tough. Here comes his quarterback. Jackson's got the first down, tries to stay in bounds to keep the clock going, but then is forced out.
He's got the first down, and of course, providing he does not fumble the ball, this game is over. All he needs to do with Jackson is just to kneel him down here and let the clock run out. It's been a typical Georgia fourth quarter, or second half, I should say.
Still to come, I know what you want now, the rest of the scores. Who won and why this afternoon. Jim Nance and Pat Hayden will have all that information for you from New York as soon as we're finished. They bring the clock down. In the first half, it was a Georgia mistake, coach, that had them behind, and they were down. But in the second half, it was that one fella behind the center did the job.
Jackson, without question, was a dominant force in the second half. But in addition to that, the offensive line of Georgia, in their ability to block and keep the Clemson defenders on their backs, when you make the kind of yardage they did, 350-some-odd yards on the ground, and average 5.5, you're going to have a tough afternoon defensively. So I think that Vince Dooley is very pleased with the fact that he has a quarterback that is dangerous and can roll out and put another dimension to his attack.
The key moment, as far as the Bulldogs were concerned, Watch the center, Pete Anderson. He's the right man in the right place, crawling to complete a block. He sees the ball rolling free in the end zone. Anderson smothers it for the touchdown that puts them ahead. Let's go to New York and Jim Nance. Jim?
Thank you very much, Brett Musburger. Again, that final was 20-13 Georgia. And Pat, a typical way for Vince Dooley's team to win a football game.
I have seen Georgia win so many games like that. Unusual ways. You see the fumble recovery there in the end zone. Good defense. John Little with the 2 interceptions. Also players, so it is an important rivalry. And you mentioned Death Valley, one of the toughest places in the country to play.
All right, Pat Hayden and I will run down the scores and highlights when the College Football Report continues on CBS after this word from your local.
Pray. You pray this almost any truck, and for many provides double wall protection.
Available at Travelier Industries on Interstate 85 between exits 39 and 40.
Mr. Knickerbocker is happy to support the Tigers and welcome Clemson fans to Tiger territory. We thank you for making us the world's largest supplier of Clemson gifts and sportswear. If it's shirts and jackets, caps, glassware, socks and shoes, tailgate supplies, t-shirts and jerseys, or something for that cold game day, pause for the home, office, or dorm, the car, Big Tigers or Little Tigers. It's at Mr. Knickerbocker's where Tigers love to shop. Haywood Mall, Greenville, and College Avenue, Clemson. Mr. Knickerbocker, a Clemson tradition.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Janet Lee, the mother-daughter relationship and their separate careers. Join us on the next Donahue.
Monday at 9 on Your Friend 4. America, 3 p.m. weekdays on Your Friend 4.
WIFF-TV Greenville, now in stereo.
Hi, everybody, and welcome again to the Danny Ford Show. Yesterday, a huge crowd over at Clemson's Death Valley as the Tigers went against the Bulldogs of Georgia. A football game that has fast become, Danny, one of the best rivalries that can be found anywhere in the Southland, I think.
Good ball game, Jim. Unfortunately, we came up short. Our football team gave good effort, tried hard. Just wasn't good enough football team to win a football game that particular day. I had great fan support, great crowd. Everything was set up real nice until the fourth quarter, and then we got behind and couldn't come back. But the effort that we got, we were real pleased with. The performances of several people are defensively, giving up too many yardage, offensively not making a big down enough times. Kicking game was a lot better than we anticipated. So right now, I guess the only thing that we've got to be completely pleased with would be our kicking game, and everything else is behind schedule.
Well, no one likes to lose, and you absorbed a loss yesterday without question. But in the same respect, I don't think there was anything that happened that can't be corrected in the future.
Well, the situation that we got ourselves into, you know, we just gave up too many first down yardage plays. It was 2nd and 4 too many times for them, and we couldn't contain the quarterback, and offensively we didn't have a good enough running game to win a football game. So we got to get tougher in those kind of areas, and then maybe we can improve and become better this week.
It was a case of Jackson more or less taking it into his own hand and coming up with some big plays, especially on your corners.
Well, he did a good job. As far as making the 3rd down play, and the big reverse hurt us in the fourth quarter, but we can coach that and get better at that.
Well, it was a football game that, of course, we mentioned was played before a huge crowd and a national television audience. So let's get right to the action and take a look at it as it occurred yesterday at Clemson's Death Valley.
Well, there's our captains, and Berlin, Reese, and Andy Newell were the captains yesterday. We won the toss, elected to wait till the second half to get our option, and that didn't help us any either. I don't believe we came in there and didn't do a thing at the beginning of the second half, but we'll see that a little bit later. But thought our football team was ready to play, and tried as well as we could expect them to try. We just got to develop some more football players.
This will be Worley, the tailback.
Way too much, too many seams inside. Good tackle by, looks like Johnson. Or safety, when your safety makes a bunch of tackles, that's not always the best defense in the world.
This will be Worley again, though.
Sweet. Our tackling wasn't real good, Jim. They fell forward too many times yesterday. Maybe that's got something to do with them being good backs, but we got to be a better tackling team than that. Fullback, linebacker stepped up, made the play, good hit, get more people around the football.
This was early in the game, and the defense seemed to be a little tentative. They weren't really moving to the ball with great authority.
Well, they got blocked a little bit here by Georgia's offensive line, which we felt like they'd come out after. It's a big play here where we stopped them and make them settle for a field goal. And had a couple good defensive plays during the game, but that was good. They lead us 3-0.
Well, that was Crumley on a 26-yarder. But at this point, you came back and looked as if you really had something going here, and in fact took the lead in the football game.
Well, Kenny Flowers is running the ball extremely well for us, and we're going to get Kenny the ball more. First down, we got it by about a half an inch. We didn't really knock people off the football, and that's something that we have to do. We'll have to get better up front. Lead option, pitch behind him. Another decent run by Kenny. Got to pitch the ball in front. Got to get better blocking on the corner. Move a second down. We got about 7 yards that play.
See Kenny again here for a first down.
Good running. Good running, not a whole lot of blocking. Ray Williams blocking downfield for him. Come back with 2 tight ends. And pretty good protection. Really get Riggs down the middle for a big catch, and he scores. And nice catch, nice play.
Ball well thrown. Riggs running a good route, and all of a sudden the Tigers are on top of the football game.
We got it again, and it's got Riggs right down the middle, stretching the zone, breaks 2 tackles, scores standing up, and a very fine throw and catch by our people.
Coach Redwell will tack on the extra point, and the Tigers will have a 7-3 lead here.
Very fine play, and kick and hold and snap by our special people there. Georgia comes back with the football, and better play by our defensive football team, by senior Steve Berlin. Many times, short yardage play by our defense. Many times like that particular play right there.